correct me if I'm wrong, and not to go off on a golf tangent here, but in this case, in that level of play, your caddy is kind of like your coach as well, right? As far as
to some extent
suggestions and how you play and keeping your mental game on point, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it seems weird that you would have a situation where they weren't having that.
Player-caddy relationship is very important, especially in this day and age of the game, for sure.
That's
yeah,
that's what I thought.
So Jonathan Majors was sentenced Monday to domestic violence programming after the judge declared jail not necessary. He must complete a 52-week in-person batterers intervention program in Los Angeles, continue mental health counseling, and stay away from the victim, his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. He faced a maximum sentence of 364 days in jail, but the Manhattan District Attorney Office did not seek jail time.
Yeah, no one was figuring he'd get jail time.
Instead, the prosecutor, Kelly Galloway, said domestic violence programming, along with an order of protection against Jabari, would suffice. And Galloway said this defendant is no longer cloaked with the presumption of innocence, despite the jury's verdict. The defendant has still refused to accept any responsibility for his actions.
He's a great man.
He definitely knows he's a great man. Jabari said that in a victim impact statement, the Majors remains a danger to others. She spoke of extreme physical and emotional pain. She said she sustained both immediately and over the months that followed the March 2023 altercation. Majors embraced his current girlfriend, actress Megan Good. Before taking his seat at the defense table ahead of the sentencing, he read from the Bible before the judge took the bench.
Good move.
Major, this is going to look great. Make sure you. Do you
have any Make-A-Wish kids I can hang up?
Majors declined to speak at the sentencing due to Jabari's civil lawsuit against him.
Child has bronchitis.
So there's still the civil lawsuit.
Yeah, that's still coming.
We'll see what ends up with happening to that. Police were looking into allegations of neglect regarding Good Times actor John Amos. Remember this?
Yeah, absolutely remember this. It was elder abuse.
Now, law enforcement sources are saying that after speaking to the involved parties, presumably Amos and his 2 adult children at the center of the drama, they have found no evidence of wrongdoing or criminal activity at all.
So essentially what they have is good times. Exactly.
All right.
This is true. It was determined that the situation arose from a family dispute and no further action was deemed necessary.
So it wasn't indicative of a chronic issue.
No.
Right.
Yeah. So there was some squabbling, I guess. Some finger pointing. Amos's daughter, Shannon, had raised concerns about her father's health and the care provided by her brother, Casey.
Keeping your head above water, making your way when you can.
Temporary layoffs.
Good times, easy credit rip-offs. Good times, scratching and surviving. Good times, happy. Good times, ain't we lucky we got 'em? Good times.
I say it's impossible to start that song without finishing.
No, you've got to.
It's impossible.
You've got to.
So the concerns had prompted Adult Protective Services to investigate, leading to the involvement of the LAPD. However, the police concluded there was no merit to the claims, and they closed the case.
I'm glad to hear that because
despite the family disagreement, and I said it, didn't I?
Yeah. But you're right.
Family disagreement
Making your way when you can. Temporary layoffs. Good times. Easy credit and rip-offs. Good times. Scratching and surviving. Good times. Hanging in a jar. Good times. Ain't we lucky we got 'em? Kathy. Good times.
You're right.
I am going to test your hypothesis.
Stop it.
Throughout the day, yes.
It was revealed that there are no serious health issues affecting Amos, as he himself confirmed, and the matter has been resolved.
You know what I'd suggest, by the way, just on a side note here, one of the coolest diapers ever worn in movies was the diaper he wore in Beastman.
Yeah, easily.
That was a giant man diaper.
Wait, so I'm just confused about this case because obviously he's still alive. So when did it start?
About a year ago?
Last year, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, about a year ago.
And is it because his health is failing?
No. I mean, so you can have an adult that a senior citizen adult that you're just caring for. They live with you. They don't necessarily need 24-hour care, and there could be possible abuse that was taking place. So
I got you.
That's what that was about. So.
Got a picture of his diaper up on the screen here in the studio.
Yep, he was in Beastmaster.
Yep, awesome.
On Amos. All right, so I have a few stories concerning Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, the special. Directors plan to continue to investigate kids' entertainment in Hollywood even after dropping their latest bonus episode on this past Sunday. And Mary Robinson, who is a co-director, said, "We're hearing calls for federal legislation. At the moment, there's no federal legislation that governs children who work in entertainment or that regulates children working in entertainment."
Well, that's not true.
Okay.
Yeah, there is legislation concerning the amount of hours a kid can work on a set. The supervision.
But maybe she means a few other things.
Oh, okay, all right.
So the bonus episode hosted by Soledad O'Brien delves deeper into the claims surrounding Dan Schneider and the Nickelodeon series they had created ran. The added installment also featured Drake Bell returning. Bell said in full praise of his co-star Josh Peck, no relation to Brian Peck,
right.
The guy that was the molesting kids, who has since spoken out about Bell and the Quiet on Set doc. And another revelation in the Breaking the Silence episode was all that alum Shane Lyons for the first time coming forward to reveal that he too was propositioned by Brian Peck while on the set. And then Drake also recently said that in the trial against Brian Peck, Peck had presented numerous letters of support from people who had worked with him in the past. This is the guy that was doing the molesting. People had written letters of support. They didn't know the truth. They thought they were defending this guy.
Exactly.
Including Ryder Strong. And Bell shared an update after conversing with the Boy Meets World alum. He said, "I just had the most amazing conversation with Ryder Strong, and we are healing together. I have nothing but love and forgiveness for him." Now, the docuseries claimed that 41 people wrote letters of support for Peck. After the doc aired, Bear shelled that those celebrities had not reached out to him to apologize. He said, "I've gotten I haven't gotten an apology or a sorry from anybody that had written letters or was involved in supporting him at all." Bell said that some of the people who supported Peck were part of the Drake and Josh crew, who he would work alongside with for many years. And the actor was unaware that these people wrote letters of support for Peck until it was petitioned to the court to unseal the documents in the case. He said, "I had no idea that for 4 years I was working alongside people who had supported him and probably in the back of their mind were thinking of me in a certain way, and I thought that they were my friends."
It's a morass of crap.
I'm hoping that more of these people come forward and reach out to him and say, "Dude, I was wrong."
Yeah,
I
because
was absolutely wrong.
He describes in the series. I have to watch his bonus episode because I watched everything else. And obviously Mark Summers had his issues with the producers and the way they put the series together. They said he felt that they were manipulative, but the facts are the facts. And in the courtroom case, when he was in court, this Brian Peck had all the people from the show, and his side of the courtroom was packed with people and supporters. And Drake said it was just him and his mother and Dan Schneider.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, exactly. Following up on that, Steve Burns, the original host of Blue's Clues, he's chatting about this as well. He says that he was never aware of anything like that ever happening on his side.
There were people who were, and somebody posed the notion, can you look back at your fondness for the Nickelodeon shows and what you experienced growing up? And yes, you can. It was not, listen, now you know that there was a subtext to some of it, but your genuine joy is still there.
But he was saying nothing on Nick Jr. like that ever occurred. He said, though seeing the documentary has been heartbreaking, he said, "I'm coming to it in much the same way as everyone else, with horror and heartbreak. It's just terrible to watch it unfold. I don't know what else to say other than that it's heartbreaking." He said Nick Jr. and Nickelodeon were so different. He said, "We were in New York, they're in L.A., there's no overlap whatsoever between any of those shows and what we were doing, and it's got to be so unfathomably painful, and it just breaks my heart." So more people are commenting on that. All right, on to some lighter stuff.
Lighter!
And I like to hear this. You don't want to count out Tony Stark just yet. It's possible viewers maybe someday could see Robert Downey Jr. return to his iconic Marvel superhero role sometime down the road. Now that he's just won an Oscar for the scene-stealing performance in Oppenheimer, feels like he's closed the book on the superhero days as he moves into another chapter of his career. But in a new interview with Esquire, he made clear that he would, quote, happily return to the role even after winning the big trophy. He said, it's too integral a part of my DNA. That role chose me. And look, I always say never, ever bet against Kevin Feige. It is a losing bet. He's the house. He will always win.
Also, can you imagine the paycheck for Robert Downey Jr. return to Iron Man?
Here's what I think. I think, maybe not right now, maybe in a couple of years, that is exactly what they need.
Mm-hmm. They're going to need something. They're going to need something.
I think they need that. A return to that,
Chris Evans has said,
would get me back in.
Yeah,
for sure.
I would go to the movies for that.
No question.
So they're talking about, and listen, I love to see, like, you're a fan of the Kingdom Come series in
when Batman
DC.
was...
Yes, when they're older.
Yep.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yep, I was thinking the exact same thing, Steve. They found a way to make an elderly Batman viable and work. Yeah, in Kingdom Come. Yep.
I was watching one of those Ryan Airy videos on Screen Crush, and one of his theories, Steve, is that they're going to follow a comic book line where essentially they get to the end of one of the phases in the Avengers series, and then basically blow up the universe and relaunch everything.
They can do it.
And if they do that, they could sort of apply like an X-Men Days of Future Past. That, you know, you can have an older Tony Stark played by Robert Downey Jr. and then a new actor come in or whatever. There's too much money to be made, and at some point, like Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher all came back to Star Wars. You know, like Harrison Ford has done Indiana Jones well into his 70s, so you know you can never rule any of these things out.
There's some promising MCU projects on the horizon. The Fantastic Four movie, you know that's got potential, and I hope it does well.
I hope so.
And there are hints that the X-Men are on their way as well. So there still might be some life out there. Let's hope so.
The one MCU movie this year is going to be Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool, yeah, that's it.
And that's going to merge the two universes, X-Men and Avengers.
Yes, exactly. So that could be cool, and I hope it brings things back around. Here's a follow-up story. The family of actor Cole Brings Plenty, who was on the one of the Yellowstone spinoffs,
1923.
It was 1923?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was in. I thought he was in two of
He
them.
was in Yellowstone as well, was he not?
Yeah. No.
But anyhow, his someone else of one of the other spinoff characters was. But anyhow, his family has issued a statement after authorities discovered his body on Friday.
Well, there you go.
The actor's father, Joe Brings Plenty, said, "I am deeply saddened to confirm that my son Cole has been found and is no longer with us. We want to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone for the prayers and positive thoughts you sent Cole during this incredibly difficult time." So he was being sought by law enforcement in connection with an alleged domestic violence case prior to his body being found. His death is under investigation. I'm assuming he took his own life.
Yeah. That's
They
horrible.
didn't really say much more. I read about it when it happened, and that was it. Just that there was some sort of investigation. He went missing, and then they found him, and that was all. Those were all the details.
27 years old. Yep, it's horrible. All right, so this was interesting, I thought. Paramount has prevailed in a copyright lawsuit brought by the heirs to the author of the 1983 magazine story that inspired the original Top Gun, accusing the studio of forging ahead with the blockbuster sequel without renegotiating a new license. U.S. District Judge Percy Anderson, in an order dismissing the case on Friday, found that several elements from the film, including the plot, theme, setting, and dialogue, are, quote, largely dissimilar from the, I'm not sure how you pronounce his first name, Casey, E-H-U-D.
I'm not the guy. Nick's the guy.
Iyad Yone's article. And to the extent both works revolve around a fighter pilot training school, the court concluded that any overlapping factual similarities aren't protected by the copyright law.
I remember years ago reading the original article, it's basically talking about the Top Gun school. There's no Kelly McGillis.
There's no Iceman.
There's no Iceman.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where it's completely disconnected.
Yeah, so the lawsuit from Shosh and Yuval Yoneh alleged that the rights to the story reverted back to them in 2020 after sending Paramount a notice of termination. They took advantage of a provision in copyright law to allowing authors to reclaim the rights to their works after waiting a period of time. But Paramount argued that they It didn't have to acquire a new license since the article at issue is a nonfiction piece and shares no similarity to the action blockbuster, and also maintained that the sequel was completed prior to the termination date. So a judge agreed, and that lawsuit is gone. So
He'll always be my wingman.
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love it.
It's one of those when it's on, I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Wait.
I'll hang out.
It's a great movie?
Yeah.
No.
Are you talking about Maverick or Top Gun?
Maverick.
Oh, Maverick. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the original.
No.
Okay.
I don't like the original Top Gun. I appreciate the campiness of it.
Right.
Even though it was kind of not intended to be necessarily campy, I think that it is.
Yeah.
But the sequel's excellent.
The sequel does
I
the
love it.
Herculean chore of making me appreciate Top Gun more, which without that, I'm like, oh, now I'm nostalgic for what happened in the first one. I love Maverick. I just thought it was a great movie.
I wanted to go back and watch Top Gun.
Right.
Like, even after I saw Maverick, I was like, wait, maybe I should go back and watch that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the first one.
They threw some cheeseball lines in there. There's a line from Hangman, and I'm not going to give anything away, but he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm very good. And I'm just like, okay. Cheesiness to be cheesy. All right. And to throw back to the old movie.
Oh, my God,
and
yeah.
Casey, I liked the whole, surrounding sphere of the original Top Gun.
Yeah.
It's just from a military standpoint and movie, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can enjoy a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and
I
it's-
do all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys want to see something funny, but in the original, when they go, I feel the need for speed. When they high five, in actuality, they whiff.
They miss, right?
They
Yes.
whiff.
You're right.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if they.
We're watching it right now.
I don't know if they sound effects in a slap or not, but Casey, I have seen it. We're watching this right now. I feel the need for speed. Oops. Too funny. All right, moving on. John Mulaney is going to star in a new Netflix comedy series. Netflix shared a trailer on Monday for John Mulaney Presents Everybody's in L.A., which is a 6-episode special created by and starring him. Everybody's in L.A. is going to follow him as he explores Los Angeles during the week of Netflix's A Joke Fest. The new feature special guests and field pieces shot in L.A., and it will premiere on May 3rd. New episodes follow May 6th through the 10th. In addition, he is going to perform May 4th at the Hollywood Bowl as part of the festival. Netflix's Joke Fest will take place May 2nd through the 12th this year. It's going to feature over 300 stand-up shows. Listen to the names.
Yeah, of course.
It's almost everybody. Ali Wong, Bill Burr, Cedric the Entertainer, Chelsea Handler, Chris Rock, Craig Robinson, Daniel Tosh, David Letterman, Hannah Gadsby, Eliza Schlesinger, Jerry Seinfeld, Jon Stewart, Jim Gaffigan, Kevin Hart, Kamal Nanjiani, Mae Martin, Mike Epps, Patton Oswalt, Seth Rogen, Tom Brady, Wanda Sykes, and others.
Yeah.
So it's just massive. And Mulaney's going to cover it. So that should be a pretty cool special that he has.
Things.
You want to hear about Tori Spelling?
Yeah, why not?
She's sharing
Dean
behind-
McDermott, right?
No, because you only have a couple of minutes here, right? What are our choices before we decide to go? What's behind door number one?
I kind of did want to hear the Tori Spelling.
All right, I mean, listen, it's the Preston and Steve show.
Well, no, I mean, it's such an exciting drama being carried out in the world of the Spellings.
Sharing details about her split from Dean McDermott on her podcast, she revealed that the straw that broke the camel's back happened last year when he said something so personal that the marriage had to end.
What was it?
She didn't say.
No!
Yeah, she doesn't let fans know exactly.
All right, Casey, you were right.
She did say that after Dean said something to her, she let out a guttural scream. No! and threw her food on the ground. After that, she apparently locked herself in her bedroom. Dean eventually was able to make contact with her by coming in through the side entrance and said he wanted a divorce, and she said she was all for it. So
There we go. He said something.
He crossed the line.
Did he? Oh, I know. I know what he said, Preston.
What?
Are you on the rag?
Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Dude.
You should really be divorced.
I
this
said
way.
it one time. Yeah,
One time. Well, actually, no. You said it one time and you learned your lesson.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly.
You on the
It was a
rag.
teaching moment,
Yeah, it
Kathy.
was a teaching moment.
Mm-hmm.
Never do this.
You're just acting that way because you're on the rag.
What did you say?
Oh, my God. I can't imagine. I wish I was there.
We learn. we learn.
The blood must have run out of your face.
We learn as we grow.
What did you say?
Same type of thing as when I told one of my girlfriends, I'm like, oh, that's something your mom would say. Oh, my God.
Did you say?
I just hear some.
I hate my mother.
She did.
I
But
know.
you can't say that. You can't say anything about
Only
mom.
You can talk bad about your mother.
Right.
No one else
My
can.
mother's a saint.
I just hear sometimes in my house, oh. Like when they get it.
Yeah.
You know?
When
So
it
nothing
clicks.
else. Yeah, it clicks. Oh.
All right. One last thing. Kevin Costner's highly anticipated Western Horizon, an American Saga, will screen out of competition at the Cannes Film Festival Sunday, May 19th, and will join already announced titles that include Mad Max Furiosa. Costner's directing and starring in Horizon, opposite a cast including, it's a really good cast, Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, Jenna Malone, Abby Lee, Michael Rooker, Danny Houston, Luke Wilson, Isabel Furman, Jeff Fahey, Will Patton, Tatanka Means.
Oh, that's... Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's, you remember Tatanka was a word used in Dances with Wolves. It meant buffalo.
Yep.
Tatanka. And I wonder if Tatanka Means is named after her. I'm not familiar with the actor.
Yeah, I know this guy. He was in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously a
he's
Native American
Native
actor.
American, okay.
Yeah.
Owen Crowshoe, Ella Hunt, and Jamie Campbell Bower. So the plot spans the 4 years of the Civil War, and according to the official logline, explores the lure of the Old West and how it was won and lost through the blood, sweat, and tears of many.
And he's directing as well, right?
And I think he paid for this. I think this is the one that he shelled out his cash for and was like, I may be making a big mistake.
He's got the
here,
money.
But he's so passionate about telling this story.
Lest we forget, he's an Oscar winner for Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves, which is a
mean,
brilliant movie.
That whole era is just rich with history. You know what I learned about? You know that one little part of Oklahoma that kind of juts out?
Panhandle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know why that's there?
Probably some kind of a dispute, some kind of a land dispute.
Dude, it was basically a lawless section of the country that you would just avoid by all means, because if you made your way through that section of the country,
You're risking your life.
Yes.
Yep.
No doubt.
I'd
People
heard
were like,
something
I don't
similar.
want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dumb old panhandle.
All right, we're ready for some clips here. Little People, Big World premiered in 2006, and the Roloffs continued to share their story through ups and downs to this day. In this clip, Amy Roloff talks about being a grandmother.
Seeing them as I saw my kids at that age, I enjoy being a grandmother. I love being a grandmother. And I joke with other people is that, I can still go on the playground with them.
Yeah.
You average size mom cannot do that.
Thing sucks.
That show's been on for 20 years almost. Rochelle watches that all the time, by the way. Little People, Big
God,
World.
it's been on forever.
Yeah, it's 2006. New episodes, Little People, Big World airs tonight, TLC. Here's the next clip. The cast of Civil War watched a lot of documentaries to prepare for their roles as military-embedded journalists in a dystopian world. And here, Kirsten Dunst recalls the one that inspired her the most.
This Maria Colvin documentary called Under the Wire. The way that she enters into a war zone and the way she was with her colleagues and honoring the people and what she does, not anything in terms of accolades or look at me or anything like that. She was very much a woman on the ground that risked her life to tell the truth.
Where have y'all gone away?
Civil War opens in theaters this Friday. Now, Wild Gone Away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Nell was a journalist.
That's the entertainment report for you, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, Tattoos Day today. Your chance to win a Preston and Steve Show themed tattoo. Text the word tattoo to 39333 and Good Money It.
Yes.
Coming up in less than an hour, we have your first chance at winning $1,000. So get ready to receive the keyword and the way to enter it, and maybe you walk away a grand richer today. We have 5 chances for you throughout the course of the day. We'll be back in just a moment, so stay with us, please.
Traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thanks, Kath. A little later on this morning, comedian Dan Soder is going to be joining us. Also, we're about 40 minutes away from her first shot at $1,000 with Good Money It. Good money to see you. So hang in there with us. But in the meantime, I think it's time to go to the survey. Hey! says, yes, I've compiled a list of ridiculously stupid questions asked in surveys. Some of them actually are thought-provoking. Other ones are just very random.
We get sent this stuff all the time, and the large bulk of them are stupid, but somehow when you pose them to us, it's like,
yeah,
maybe that's worth pondering.
All right, so here is one of the surveys I'll pass along. The question of over 1,000 U.S. adults, they asked the question, how often do you drink wine? And the options are daily, a few times a week, once a week, every couple of weeks, once a month, less often than once a month, or only on special occasions.
Well, not the last one.
The last one, only on special occasions?
No, I said, well, not
I
the
know,
last
but I'm about to tell you,
one.
the last one, only on special occasions, is the most highly, more people had said that than all the other questions.
That would be me. And I sip only, it has to be ungodly sweet.
You'll take a ceremonial sip. Maybe.
That's it.
I think that wine for a lot of people is special occasions. I think unless you're really into wine and the taste of it and that's your drink, I could see that being special occasion. Same thing for champagne. Like I'll open up a bottle of champagne on a random.
On the way to work.
No, I mean I have one in my car right now. No, like on a random weekend. But some people have champagne once a year at like New Year's or a wedding.
Yeah,
or something.
I have friends that when they're going to have a couple of drinks, champagne is what they go for. And I was like, wow,
default.
Champagne is maybe once a year for me, and that's it. And then when I'm over there, I'm like, damn, this stuff is good.
Yeah.
I should have this more often.
Yes, you should.
Yes.
Like, you should apply that same theory like you do to Thanksgiving dinner. It's too good not to have more frequently. I turned champagne into my beverage of choice for tailgating at Phillies games.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know what's really done me in, Kath, is the availability of beer and wine, especially at grocery stores. That didn't happen when we were growing up. It didn't happen in our 20s even. And it's been one of those things that's happened over the last, 15, 20 years or so. And now that you're almost in your 30s, it's a really nice thing to have available.
What was that now?
Nothing.
That noise. That was
Nothing
weird. Oh, Nick, that's weird that you say that though. But I still have that mindset that it's more expensive there. Because remember
at the supermarket?
Well, yeah, because growing up, you had to go to a beer distributor to get the case of beer. If you bought it at like a takeout place and got the 6-pack, you're paying the same amount for the 6-pack as you would the case.
Yep.
And I don't think I really ever buy at grocery stores because I still have that mindset and I go to the PA Wine and Spirits or down in Delaware
I do
Total
every
Wine.
time, yeah.
All right, so the what would your answer be, Kathy? How often you drink wine?
How often do you stop drinking
Once a week,
wine?
few times a week?
Say, let me just tell you a quick story. So, we had a flood in the kitchen. Kitchen got ripped out. Prior to that, I would pour a glass of wine a couple of nights a week, like during the week.
Mm-hmm.
Since having no kitchen, and now I do currently have a new kitchen, I completely stopped during the week. I don't have any wine during the week. So I would say definitely like Friday, after school and like heading into happy hour, I'll pour a glass of wine.
When your recyclable bin gets flipped over in the garbage truck, how much glass do we hear break?
Dude. Yeah. That's us.
Clink, 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 clink.
Oh,
clink, clink, clink,
God.
clink, clink.
Especially at the shore. We go to recycling.
So what do you
Somebody
think?
had a party.
What is okay? How do you ask this question? What is your go-to? I always just assume that bourbon is your go-to.
Yeah, bourbon or beer are my two easy go-to alcoholic drinks, and then dinner wine is usually a good option.
You are a wine guy? I did not know that.
Yeah.
What wine do you like?
A Cab Franc or something
You
like
like
that.
red?
I like the
A
reds.
Frank Rizzo?
Yeah, and then
there are some whites that I do like, but for the most part, I'll get a red wine. Yeah.
Kathy, I just always assumed.
How are your Rizzo?
I want to fight you.
I just because I know you love margaritas. Is that your go-to?
Oh, totally. I will go to a restaurant based on their drinks.
But what about
based
at
on
home?
how they
home,
make their
right.
margaritas?
At home, if you're not drinking wine and you're no longer doing that, have you replaced it with 3 to 4 times the amount of margaritas?
No, I usually won't drink during the week. I mean,
You are a lush. I can tell by looking at you.
it's okay. I'll own that. That's fine.
Yeah.
No, I really don't drink during the week at home, especially at home. If I go out to dinner, yes, I'll probably get, if they have a good skinny margarita, I'm getting that, or a glass of wine.
How much concealer do you have to use on the bursted veins in your nose?
Stop it.
And so, Nick, I always
still look good. Look at me.
I always thought your
You do. You look good.
go-to was like a white wine, like a Pinot
Grigio.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time that's what I drink. And
Do you drink during the week?
it's
Okay, it's fine.
I guess it depends on the week.
I'm not judging.
Last week, no. Spring break week, Yes.
Well, yeah, that's. Yeah.
But I try not to during the week because it really messes with my sleep, and we already have a bad sleep schedule as it is. My kids was going to say something that I forgot.
A glass of wine with dinner?
Oh, you know what? Glass of wine with dinner, sure, yeah. The thing that I've learned over the last while dating Andrea and being together with her is that California wines, for whatever reason, really mess with her head. They give her a bad headache. So
I'm the same.
Sulfites. And Kathy introduced me to a couple. Like there's a New Zealand wine that she likes that she introduced me to a long time ago, or a French or Italian wine. And I don't do that because they're better or to be snotty or whatever. It's literally because I can drink them and Andrea can drink them as well.
Yeah, the California wines definitely give me a headache. And I actually, that's what I was going to say that's one of the reasons that I don't, even just one glass of wine won't give me a headache, but I'll feel it the next morning.
So my wife was looking at something. She's like you. She loves wine as not an aficionado, but knows a fair amount and knows what she likes. And she saw something over the weekend that she brought to my attention. It is some sort of drop stick or something that you put in wine.
Yes.
And it removes the things because my wife is susceptible to migraines.
A friend of mine uses that.
Does it work?
Yeah, for him. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We had those one time in the Bitch Box when we did Bitch Box.
Oh, right.
We put those in there.
Yeah.
So, by the way, the survey results were daily, 2% said, a few times a week having a glass of wine, 6%, once a week, 5%. Every couple of weeks, 7%. Once a month, 5%. Less often than once a month is 12%. And only on special occasions, 24%.
I have to say, I like the brunch mimosa. Is that champagne and
orange
juice? Yeah.
I think that's pretty good tasting.
Oh, they're very yummy.
Yeah.
You know what's really good tasting, Steve, is bottomless mimosas, where they just keep bringing them to you. Those taste great.
So, yeah, there was a survey on adults and how often you drink wine. Here's another survey that was taken, a survey of over 20,000 U.S. adults. How concerned, if at all, are you about the possibility that AI will cause the end of the human race on Earth?
All right, what are the options?
How concerned? Very concerned, somewhat concerned, not at all concerned, or not sure?
Somewhat.
Yeah, I'm somewhat concerned.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I'm somewhat.
All right.
I'm not concerned.
Not concerned. Casey?
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay. That's the most popular answer at 27%. Somewhat concerned. 19% were very concerned. 23% not concerned at all, which is Kathy. And then 13% said not sure.
We were just talking off air. I've done something with AI that I think when I play it late, we're going to get it cleared. And when I do, you may skip up to very concerned.
Steve, I'd say about 90% of the time, my views align with you on AI, and I agree with you. But that 10% of the time where I get scared of it, my mind goes to the worst sci-fi movies, or the worst outcomes in sci-fi movies, where things are just going to get really bad really quickly, and Cyberdyne's going to take over.
No, if you want to here are your movies to watch to make sure you can refortify that paranoia. The Terminator movies, Colossus, The Forbin Project, read Harlan Ellison's masterpiece, I Have No Mouth But I Must Scream. All of those positive world in which AI is run amok. And
even go back to less sophisticated war games.
War games!
I mean, it launched the nuclear weapon.
Whopper!
Whopper! For crying out loud. So, it's pretty wild. And I've only just barely dabbled in the tiniest, just playing around with AI a little bit. My buddy Will was like, man, this is crazy. So he uses it for suggests some ideas in his work.
That's where it helps.
And he's like, here. And we were at our shore house, and we nickname our houses, our shore house for fun. So we call it Copper Top. And he's like, write a song about a place, a shore house called Copper Top, doing it in this style. And boom, hits the button, bang. A song comes out in 10 seconds. Lyrically, he added our names in there, and it's just like, oh my God. And then he amends it and goes, make it dark and more blah, blah, blah. And just speaking in plain language like that. And then it comes back with a darker tone to it. And I'm like, well, that's kind of fun.
So here's the conversation, and I think this is how you look at it. The same way like when Adobe Photoshop came out and people consider that cheating with so it's what you put into it. So the issues I think a lot of people are afraid of is you get a message from a person you believe has been kidnapped, and it's a voice replication of them.
Yes.
Or somebody of some authority, you believe you're watching a video of them saying something that could be very cataclysmic.
Yes.
And it's not real.
Yep.
That's the scenario in which most people go, duh?
Exactly. And there's going to be we're going to have growing pains with this.
Yes.
Like incidents like that are probably going to happen until the proper safeguards are put on. Because you know how things are until you beta test it, until you put it out in the world. You don't know.
That's right.
You can throw 1,000 different scenarios out there. But when the general public gets its hands on it, that's when you find out the kind of good and the kind of damage that things can do.
You talk about the growing pains, but for many, it's all about different strokes.
It is.
I think,
it is. I mean, it's a small wonder. That,
Oh, my God.
okay.
And listen, most of us are just perfect strangers.
Good times.
I think we're all friends.
Yeah.
Every time you need it, baby, it's good time. Every time you need free. Good time. Anytime you're under. Not getting hustled, not getting hustled. Keeping your head above water. Making your way when you can. Temporary layoffs. Good times. Easy credit rip-offs. Good times. Scratching and surviving.
I don't know that
Hanging in a jar line? Or
Chow line.
In a chow line. A jar line. What the hell's that?
one. I need my jar.
What are you doing? I'm just standing in this line waiting to get a jar.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Hanging in a jar line.
Sure.
Dude, you've been in the chow line. Oh, God damn it. I don't
Damn
want
it.
I've got all the chow I need. I need the jar to put it in.
You should have been in the jar line the whole time.
Oh.
All right, we're
What you
moving.
should have done is had one person wait in the jar line. You ate in the chow line.
And then you put the chow in the jar.
Yes.
Wait, hang on.
We
Look at
just
the
solved
lyrics
it.
up on the screen here.
All right, so
no.
keeping your head above water, making a wave when you can, temporary layoffs, good times, easy credit ripoffs, good times, scratching and surviving, good times, hanging and a jiving.
Wow.
It's not hanging in a jar line.
Hanging and a jiving.
Hanging in a jar line.
Chow line.
So there's a J in there.
Hanging in a jar line.
There's a J.
There's no line.
There's no CH.
Oh.
Shut up.
James, did you bring home the jars?
Okay. We're moving on to another survey.
Woman, I'm
Hey,
not-
look over there. It's a survey. All right, in a survey of over 14,000 U.S. adults, when you were growing up, how often did any of your parents or guardians swear in front of you?
Oh my God! It was my dad.
Yeah,
all
my parents.
of the time.
My parents and my parents' friends and they all let it fly.
My dad, it was certainly unique in that he mixed abject profanity with the King's English. So we had this bizarre hybrid going on. But it's like that scene that just cracks me up in A Christmas Story. It's like, where did he hear that? Well, my dad said those words constantly.
Yeah.
It was my dad as well. My mom never cursed in front of us. I can name one time I remember her saying the F word. And we were in Montauk, and she was yelling about what we were having for dinner. It was the only time I ever heard her say
it. It was dinner that
she
got
said
her.
effing chicken. And we still say it.
Keep effing that chicken.
We still say it today because it was the only time we ever heard her say that. And my dad never, to us or really around us, we would just hear him working on something in the back room.
Son of a bitch.
This, that, you know.
Hey, do you ever bring up the effing chicken?
Oh, yeah, we still, yeah.
Oh, that's
that chicken.
one more time, Steve. One more time, please.
That chicken.
Yeah, if you ever see her, just say, I heard about the effing chicken.
chicken.
She'll be like, oh, she told that story. Literally like the only time she's ever said that word.
I love it. Now, Casey, your parents not.
No,
it was very rare.
The
and it was,
SH word was used in our house. I wouldn't say a lot, but you got to remember they had 3 boys. You know, we were hellions. You know, especially me. So the S word was. But my mom, I don't think has ever said the F word in her entire life. My dad, I heard him say it the first time I ever heard him say it. It carried a lot of weight because he never, ever said it. And then I was being a little a-hole, and he dropped the F-bomb, and I was like, okay, you're right.
My dad would have said, the S word? What are you, a pussy? Use the F word.
So, no, that's the a good reason to hold on to that.
Right.
For when you really, really want to make an impact without hitting someone.
Yeah, my mom
to drop the F-bomb.
Yeah,
my mom was in a body cast. She had major back surgery, and she was laid up in bed. And my dad had a lot on his plate,
and he snapped.
Yeah, and he snapped.
It happened.
You guys were being disrespectful or whatever, not helping, and then boom. It was
I
time.
remember exactly where we were. We were in the drive-through line at Burger King. You know.
And was he trying to order and you guys
I
would
want some
no,
effing.
or-
I want some effing chicken.
My mom was there.
We don't have it.
Oh, man. All right. Well, anyhow, the respondents said that, so the options were multiple times a day, every day, most days, some days, rarely, or never. 11% said multiple times a day. So that would be us, Steve.
I will tell you what, to that point, Presto, as you go through this, the rare times I did hear my mother curse, I can remember them specifically, where it just became white noise with my dad.
7% said every day. 9% said most days. 17% said some days. The highest response, 30% said rarely.
Wow.
And 18% never.
Not us.
It's funny, though, because we have had people come in our studio before, and when the mics are off, we let the profanities fly. But we'll have people come in the studio and hang out, and they have brought kids in before, and we're like, hey, sorry, you may hear us curse, and they go, our kids have heard it all. And I go, they may have heard all the words, but they may not have heard. The key is what words you put around those words.
The way we place them in a sentence.
Is a little bit more, that's where the graphic stuff comes in. You can drop an F-bomb, but when you add some nouns to that,
they might have heard of felching, but we're going to explain it.
It can get a little gnarly.
We're going to get into detail today.
So in a survey of that same group, how often do you say swear words? Multiple times a day, every day, most days, some days, rarely, or never.
Every day at some
multiple
point.
times a day.
Yeah,
without
I try
question.
not to.
Shut up. Jesus.
I thought he was serious.
Try harder.
Oh, please. Casey drops the F-bomb more than most people around here.
Yeah.
But you use it as a filler a lot of times.
Instead of
sentence enhancer.
Instead of
It's a sentence enhancer.
But I always say it makes the story better.
Yeah, it does.
It can, yes. Now,
Shakespeare missed out on it.
Casey uses it as instead of or a pause. It'll be effing this and effing and the effing guy said he was effing and blah blah blah. So, but multiple times a day was the highest response, 26%. Followed by every day 11, most days 10, some days 17%. 23% said rarely, and 8% said never.
I think most people, and I perceive that it's something men are more inclined to do, but if you ever been around a woman who, as they say, swears like a sailor, that just, it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah, we had an old neighbor of ours, Nadine. Oh, my God, did she have a mouth on her? It was hilarious. It
just cracks you up. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, curse away, friends. Survey said... We have another one that says, in a survey of over 12,000 U.S. adults, do you think the overall value placed on diamonds in society is too high, about right, too low, or you're not sure?
Way too high.
Placed on diamonds in society. Yeah, I think it's too high. They're very, very expensive.
Very artificially inflated.
I think it's not high enough, Steven Singer.
No, listen, I'm not. I know we have a great longtime advertiser, and I wouldn't want to, disparage his line of work or his trade. But yeah, I think it's. They're really expensive.
So for me, I have no for the people that I give them
I don't
to.
need diamonds.
My wife loves them and really appreciates them. For me, it's just a way to make someone else happy. I see no inherent.
Hey, listen, I always feel the same way about gold. Too. I mean, that's
but there's rarity to gold. I mean,
there's not rarity to diamonds.
No. Sapphires are much more rare than diamonds. The diamond prices are way artificially inflated.
Yeah, but I have this conversation with people all the time, and not just about diamonds, but about other things. I recently had a conversation about airline flight prices. It's what it costs. It might be expensive.
No, it's not.
It is.
Not with diamonds.
You can't get that. You can't get a diamond like that anywhere else for a cheaper price.
I know, and that's because the price themselves were artificially inflated by one company for a really long time.
So but it is what it. My point is, it is what it is. That's the price.
Capitalism will bear that out. People will pay that. That doesn't mean that's what their inherent value is. So the inherent value.
But it is. If you were to go sell it, what you would get that price for?
Based solely on supply and demand. No, I'm serious.
He's talking about the rarity of it.
Right. I understand that. But
they've been artificially inflated for a really, really long time, and that's why those prices became so high. They are the hardest substance on the planet. There is rarity to them, and look, they're pretty. What Steve said has validity to it as well. people like them. There's happiness associated with it. However, that does not mean that their inherent value should be as high as it is.
Are sapphires the most rare?
Sapphires are much rare. No, they're not the most
stone?
rare, but the sapphires are much rarer than diamonds are.
Okay.
But diamonds are priced higher than sapphires are.
So there's one ineluctable fact, which is things are worth what people will pay for them.
Right.
Yes, well, that's what
my
Kathy's
point.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what Kathy's saying, and Nick is trying to indicate to differentiate the two things.
I know,
yeah.
but in
Yeah.
society and where we
Okay.
live and what we're gonna, you know what I mean, what we're gonna pay for it, and yeah, a sapphire might be more rare.
How much did your mother pay for chicken?
The effing chickens, it depends.
No, I mean, like, look, I find it fascinating, but essentially one company, De Beers, controlled how diamonds were bought and sold around the world for a very, very long time. That has changed a lot over the last 20 years. There have been new companies that have come in. There's been new diamond mines that have been discovered. But the way that De Beers was able to artificially inflate the prices for a long time mandated where those prices are today.
There was De Beers, and then a competitor, De Mazel, and then Dawson Pfeffer Incorporated.
That's right.
So 51% said it's too high. The value is placed too high. So it's overwhelmingly that. 29% said about right. 2% said it's too low.
Too low.
And 17% said not sure.
Those 2% work on Jewelers Row.
I would imagine so. Yeah, I would
And
think so.
do you know, we talked about it. I think we actually brought it up on the show. There are people who go on for the Diamond District in New York and Jewelers Row here.
we talked about
who
it.
walk,
And
walk
find.
around and just spend all day walking and looking for diamonds that have fallen out of couriers' bags.
And they find them every
and
now
they find
and
them.
Diamonds.
Have you ever seen them? Like, they're not really, they're carrying like odd things because they don't want
Yeah.
you to think that that's what they have. I mean, some of them are a little more recognizable and they'll have like little suitcases behind
Yeah.
them, but sometimes they're just like shoved in a bag.
They want them to be as inconspicuous as possible.
Yeah.
Not a big bag that says diamonds.
Yeah. All right. So anyhow, that was an interesting survey. Let's go to another one. We got to take a break here in a minute. Get ready to give away some money. Maybe some diamonds with that money.
Diamonds,
All right.
diamonds.
Have you ever, this is a survey that was done, have you ever owned a vehicle with an official vanity plate or personalized license plate? Yes, yes, but not currently. No, but would consider it. No, and I would not consider it. Or I've never owned any vehicles.
The first time we met you, Kathy, you had a vanity plate that said Beaver Cleaver.
No, stop. No, I would never. That's like one of my unwritten rules. I'm
Okay.
not doing a vanity plate.
I've never.
I never have. I think it would be kind of fun.
What would you have?
For the right? I don't know. Maybe some kind of golf, something that has to do with a hobby I'm into or something like that. I've seen some. I've seen some that I thought were fun. Like I saw one that said 2-putt, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So there's some like that might be kind of cute. I saw a drummer one time that I thought was kind of fun. We of course know the WMMR, the guy in Delaware that has that license
Yeah,
plate,
that's-
which is really fun.
I signed
Yes.
it yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was that guy. I met a guy at my my gig yesterday. His name's Gibby, and he has a license plate that says WMMR 933.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. If you were to get one case, would you get like Fozzie or something like that?
Fish?
I
I'm
think,
sure one exists, right?
There's got to
Yeah.
be tons of them.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I'll go
Right.
with Steve's answer.
Well, yeah. Would you do it? Would that? I think that would be a sense of pride, and I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, also you're promoting the band. That has been a core thing of your life.
I would probably do like a Fish lyric or word rather than just the band name, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something a slightly cryptic.
I mean, I told you my family and I, we were trying to do little vanity plates that all matched, and
Right.
Foz would be the constant,
Hell,
and the
and
variable.
Fonz.
And then my brother is the only one who did it, and it came back and it says Fonz, Fonz.
Really?
Yeah, Fonz.
Why?
5.
How did that end up like
Dude,
that?
they messed it up.
They messed it up?
They messed it up.
Oh, my God.
Fonz.
By the way, I started reading Henry Winkler's autobiography
How is it?
today. I just started.
yeah,
It's
okay.
fun so
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
I'll let you guys know how it is.
Fonz 5.
Fine. Did he return it?
No.
What?
Yeah, I just saw him on Sunday. I'm pulling up behind his car. My other brother's
How long
house.
has he had it?
A couple of years now.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
At that
Come
point,
on,
it's
man.
like when you get the screw up. Sometimes the screw up is more.
Yeah.
Is more. Oh, this is cool. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are suggesting for you, Preston, Presbo.
Presbo would be perfect.
I like that. Yeah, hang on.
Hi, Presbo.
Oh, and we have this too. Casey, do you have the other one?
Not yet.
Okay.
I got
all
it.
right. Never mind. Sorry. But yeah, Presbo would work. So the answer to the survey questions, 14% said...
Bye, Presbo.
Oh, yeah, that's by Presbo. So,
Bye, Presbo.
Yeah. Yes, I currently do. Yes, said 14%. 12% said yes, but not currently. 26% no, but I would consider it. The highest return was 32% who said no, and I would not consider.
Have they gotten more restrictive on what you can put on your plate? I think they have.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't get an ass man or anything like that.
Dude. Hang on real quick here. Hang on. Mike is on the line. Hey, Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Ed.
Mike, good morning to see you. I think I've seen your plate before. Tell people what it is.
Well, I have a Toyota pickup truck, and I have Gandalf on the plate.
You have
I've always been a big Lord of the Rings fan.
And so, wait, that's...
I own an HVAC company.
That's seven. Is it spelled out fully, Gandalf, or is it an abbreviation? It's the full thing.
Yeah, no, it's spelled out. It's a Pennsylvania plate, and I was just lucky to get it.
That's cool.
So what is the maximum amount of characters you can have on a PA plate?
I think it's 7.
I think it was 7.
Yeah.
Gandalf's.
All right. Yeah, Gandalf's. How often do you get a honk or a wave or anything like that, Mike?
A bunch. I get a lot of them.
Every day?
Yeah, every couple weeks, I guess. Somebody will take a picture or get a kick out of it.
Roll down your window. Thumbs
Oh,
up, bro.
Thank you, by the way, buddy. Appreciate it. I saw one the other day. I took a picture of. I meant to show to you guys. Oh, and I always feel weird about taking pictures of somebody's license plate.
Me too. Yeah.
But
private dick.
This one said, I'm going to see if I can find it, but I remember it said 476 sucks.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I was like, that's fun. That's great. Making a statement.
So David, the guy who installed the cameras at my house, he has WMMR, I believe, or 93.3. How many plates have in the area would you, because I see a fair amount of them.
I was wrong. It's IH8 476.
Oh, that's good.
That's great. Yeah.
I hate 476.
I like that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I saw one a long time ago, and I mentioned it on the show. It said Quidgibo, and Quidgibo is a very random Simpsons reference, and I brought it up on air, and the guy that had the Quidgibo license plate called into the show, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty damn good poll for a Simpsons fan, and apparently he listens to the Preston and Steve show, which
awesome.
is neat. Yeah.
All right, well, listen, I would like to take calls on this, but we cannot do it because I'm looking at the clock, and we got to get ready for Good Morning. Good Money Hits.
We have money to give away.
Good money to see you. But thank you for joining us for the surveys, friends. We'll do it again sometime in the very near future. Let's take a break, and also along with Good Money Hit, we're going to have the Bizarre File, so stay put. We'll be back in a moment.
Preston.
You're welcome.
93.3 WMMR Philadelphia. It's time for a Good Money It keyword.
Oh, yes, it is. And the word for this hour is payday. All one word, P-A-Y-D-A-Y. All right, payday. And we're going to give you 15 minutes until 15 minutes after the hour, that is, to enter it. There are 3 ways to do it. Go ahead and send it in to WMMR.com, or you can enter it via the MMR app or text it to the special contest short code number, which is 45911, and one random entry will win $1,000 in our company-wide contest. Each winner will get a call from Beasley. Make sure you answer your phone. The contest rules are available at WMMR.com, and this is sponsored by our friends at McLaughlin Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. So again, the word is payday, P-A-Y-D-A-Y. Good luck to you.
Now, WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by Natural Lawn of America. Natural Lawn has been creating green lawns quickly, more naturally, and with fewer weeds since 1987. Get free seeding every year. Call 800-FREE-SEED now. This is really tragic and bizarre. 3 people died after typhoon-like winds actually pulled them out through their apartment windows in southern China as extreme weather battered the region over the past week. Yeah,
God wanted you dead at that point.
A total of 7 people died in Jiangxi province since the exceptionally strong winds began on Sunday. More than 5,400 houses were damaged, 313,000 people affected, of whom about 1,600 had to be evacuated.
You're inside, you're probably thinking at least you're modestly safe.
Yeah, the Chinese Meteorological Authority issued an orange alert, the highest on its 3-tier warning system on Tuesday, the first since 2013. 4 deaths And at least 10 injuries were reported in the capital of Nanchang, the hardest hit city where severe thunderstorms and heavy rains hit on Sunday. Among them, a woman in her 60s and her 11-year-old grandson yanked from their apartment windows by strong wind together with their mattresses. A 60-year-old woman from the same building was also swept out of the window by extreme wind.
So are we to believe their bed, they were in their beds and they just got pulled out the window?
Not sure.
Out the window?
One weather station picked up a wind speed exceeding the highest level of 12, equivalent to a Category 1 hurricane, while 29 others detected level 10 and 11 winds.
Wow.
Air conditioners were blown off of high rises in the city, while more than 2,000 trees were toppled. That is messed up. Wow. All right, listen to this. Authorities in the Russian Republic of Chechnya have announced a ban on music that they consider either too fast or too slow. Minister of Culture Musa Dadyev announced the decision to limit all musical, vocal, and choreographic compositions to a tempo ranging from 80 to 116 beats per minute.
Well, if I got the perfect music for you. Those restrictions cause that kind of music.
Absolutely. Yep. At a meeting on Friday, he said, I have announced the final decision that from now on, all music, vocal, and choreographic works must correspond to a tempo of 80 to 116 beats per minute.
Jeez.
Under Kadyrov's directive, the region now ensures that Chechen music and dance creations align with the Chechen mentality and musical rhythm.
So no EDM.
Aiming to bring to the people, well, if the tempo's right, to the people and to the future of our children, the cultural heritage of the Chechen people. The ban will mean that many songs and musical styles such as pop and techno will be banned. Chechnya sits in the North Caucasus, is that right? Yeah, Caucasus region between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea. It's almost entirely Muslim republic, which includes parts of Russia's border with Georgia. Kadyrov has been the leader since 2007 and has used his time in office to stifle any form of dissent. There have also been reports of waves of violence against gay men as well, but now they're coming for the music.
Everyone must wear their underwear on the outside.
Yep, and that's the new rule. In Tokyo, police arrested a 56-year-old man for allegedly rubbing his buttocks against a water tap.
You can't do that.
The man has admitted to the charge, saying that he did it to, quote, satisfy his sexual desire.
That's him, officer.
The sources said that that he is suspected of rubbing his anus against a water tap at a park in Tokyo's Setagaya ward. And by the way, this is a drinking fountain.
Like a public drinking fountain?
Yeah.
Dear God.
At around 3 a.m.,
this water tastes like gas.
Police officer found the man riding a bicycle with his lower body exposed on the street. The man was arrested on suspicion of public indecency after a picture of himself taken naked at a park.
How super horny do you have to be where you're going to do that in public?
Was discovered on his phone. The police later found a photograph of the man rubbing his anus against the water tap.
I don't think that's about being horny. That's just some mental issues.
It's a sex thing.
He said it was his sexual desire. And they rearrested him on Thursday on suspicion
I'm cleaning it.
Property damage. The man reportedly said he took the pictures after confirming with binoculars that no one was nearby. So he cased the area. He did
It looks pretty clear.
surveillance.
And to remain is on the drinking nozzle.
That's what he did. All right, here's a story out of Ireland. A Dublin man appeared in court completely naked and refused to wear clothes after his emotional support cat went missing during a traffic stop arrest.
Where are your water fountains?
The facts of the case were laid bare when Joseph Davis appeared before the judge, Marie Quirky, at a weekend sitting of Dublin District Court. Mr. Davis was charged with traffic offenses.
You need to understand my cat's gone missing, and that's why you can see my balls.
Is failing to give police his details and not keeping the car stationary during the alleged incident. The Judge Quirky heard the motorist refused to wear clothes when he was brought to the courthouse. She remanded him in custody with consent of $200 bail, directed medical attention, and asked police to find out what happened to his cat, Oliver. Mr. Davis entered the stunned courtroom naked with his hands over his private parts, but within seconds he stood with his arms outstretched to argue his case after rejecting the services of a lawyer telling him to F off. Judge Quirky told him to sit down, but he stood and claimed that he had been stripped and humiliated as he demanded an opportunity to speak. Officer Eva Mady said that the accused made no reply to charge where he was offered bail but refused to sign his bond. The court sergeant informed the judge the man had his property, including his clothes, and he just won't put them on. Mr. Davis went on a tirade, but was warned that anything he said must be relevant in the case. And he said, let me tell you my story. This is relevant. This is my story. What happened yesterday, I was traveling with my companion, Pet Oliver. He normally comes into this court. I was dropping off legal documents pertaining to a legal case in the high court. And he remained on his feet throughout the 9-minute hearing. Naked.
You sound insane.
Mr. Davis called the police scum, maintained that he tried to show them the documents that he had been bashed.
How did I do?
He claimed that he had been lent the car involved in the alleged offense and demanded, now, where is my emotional support animal?
And you're in that helicopter, mister.
A doctor attended him at the station and gave him advice, but the accused claimed that...
I'd like to apologize to Jennifer Gardner and the pool boy Ben Affleck.
The accused claimed that he was seen by someone who did not speak effing English, and he said that he was stressed because his emotional support animal was missing, and he began banging on the glass barrier in front of the judge and called out, "Where's my emotional support animal?"
I get. There's got to be. I hope there's footage of this. I have to see this.
The judge was told that Mr. Davis...
And where were those pictures I was supposed to see?
...was previously allowed to bring the cat to court with him, provided he kept it on a leash.
There's no words on it.
The judge described it as an impossible situation. Mr. Davis agreed and said, "Please, I need to find my animal. I'm lost without
Where's my blue blankie?
And he is...
Who took my blue blankie?
He is lost without me. Judge Quirky sent his bail and directed immediate medical attention while he remained in custody. He has yet to plead to the charges and will appear in the court sometime today. So.
My blanket, my blue blanket, give me my blue blanket.
I have to hear this.
Oh, I just turned it
Oh,
off.
you stopped it.
I'm sorry.
I want to hear. I'm sorry. When he apologizes at the end. All right, never mind. All right, so you got 5 minutes left to enter the word payday. It is the good money good money to see you keyword for this hour. So make sure that you enter that now at WMMR.com or the MMR app, or you can text it to the special contest short code number 45911. And again, the word is payday, Payday. Don't forget it's Tattoo Day as well. So text word tattoo to 39333. Floating World Tattoo and Piercing. We have that tattoo, courtesy of the Preston and Steve Show as well, that you might win. We're going to take a break and be back in a minute. Stay with us.
Traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Kathy. Interesting little video that Casey had sent to all of us a couple of days ago. And what was the app that the woman was using? Strava?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she posted a video on TikTok that she... Right. And I guess her soon-to-be ex-husband, she found out that he was cheating on her through the Strava app.
Strava,
do you guys have Strava?
Yes, I do have Strava.
Yeah,
I don't use it, but I have it.
I use it as well.
Like tracks your workouts, right?
It does, but it's also a social media app. And so you have people that you follow, people follow you, and it's really a great way to get like encouragement and stuff like that. I use Strava. I use it for my bike rides. I use it for, runs,
I
swims,
think you might have
and
mentioned
workouts.
it. I got it, and I've never used it. But a lot of people, and from what I understand, Case, the social media aspect of it has taken off.
Yeah. So
sorry, just real quick for the app. So it's workout based, but you're sharing your workout with other people. Is that how it becomes social media?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but I use it because it tracks my workouts and I can see my progress, and it links up to my Apple Watch, so it gets my heartbeat and heart rate and stuff. But it maps your runs, your bike rides, and all that stuff. And this woman found out that he was running to somebody's house. And I mean, there's with
a boner.
Yeah, she spins a yarn and tells the whole story, but essentially she found out through the Strava app that he was running to one particular place and then coming back. And yeah.
So this leads to a conversation. Casey said in the comments there were other people that were chiming in about other either apps or digital platforms or even streaming services that clues through those had led them to find out that their significant other was being unfaithful.
You don't to the serial cheater. they may be unaware that they're leaving a digital footprint all over the place.
Well, so in the comments section, and I thought it was crazy, there were a couple, like here's one that she says, I found out my ex cheated on me when the Airbnb host left a review about how he and Martha were such great guests. She's like, my name isn't Martha. The crazier one that I saw was...
Where did you get that name, Martha?
I found... Martha. Yes, the Batman and Superman.
Why did you say that? Why did you say that name? Were you in an Airbnb with her? That's my mother.
This one was crazy. It says, I found out through Netflix. Okay, that's not even a social media app, but she found out through Netflix because somebody was binge watching Gossip Girl.
Oh no!
And dude was not watching Gossip Girl.
That's what happened. He's having this association. He's with this girl. They log on to his account. She's watching Gossip Girl.
He's probably watching it with her.
Yeah.
But there's no way that the spouse, the wife, has ever seen him watch Gossip Girl or make mention of Gossip Girl in any way, shape, or form. So he clearly has got something going on. Interesting. So we wanted to throw this out to those who may have digitally found out, I guess, and I don't mean your fingers. About how, let me smell your fingers.
You smell like Gossip Girl.
How you found out somebody was cheating on you using either, an app or even a streaming service. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and then this one is crazy. It says
215-263 WMMR, our number.
I found out through a grocery store app. I saw that he was making purchases for items we didn't have at a grocery store nowhere near our home.
Yeah, Nick pulled up this article. It says, I found out through Venmo.
Yes.
Woman says that she found out her husband was cheating on her through, this is the same thing,
but
through Strava.
It's the the video that Casey was talking about, but it's in the comments, and it's sort of opened, I guess, the floodgates for a lot of people who found out through different digital applications, and one woman found out through Venmo.
I think and a lot of times you talk about the things that are linked through the Apple Watch case, whether it be Strava or other. There are a load of programs that will geolocate you.
Yeah,
that are on all the time.
Well, how the Apple products all connected.
Yes.
So
that's how the Apple AirTags work.
Well, but I mean, like text messages and things going through sometimes ding on multiple devices, and I know somebody who got busted that way.
Really? So what happened?
Well, because the wife was like, "Well, why does the kid's iPad at 2 a.m. keep dinging in the other room?" And went in, pulled it out, and just kind of connected it all that way.
Casey, you remember how you don't play Words with Friends anymore, right? I don't know if anybody does. In Words with Friends, there's a chat application.
Yes.
So you could chat with people. And I had a friend who was cheating on his girlfriend. And the way that he was communicating with the girl that he was cheating with was through Words with Friends. And they would sext each other through Words with
What's
Friends.
another word for anal?
Well, listen, police have located people via their video game usernames when they log on elsewhere. Maybe they're runaways or they've been kidnapped, and somehow or another they've logged onto another system and they can pinpoint where they are.
They've used they've gotten warrants to access gamer history to find out. And in fact, there was somebody who had been abducted, and you reported on it. And he logged on to play a game wherever and then they located the abductee.
All right, and also in this comment section, this has come up a couple of times, and I don't know what this is. It says, have you heard about the hidden calculator app? Technology is making it too easy. I don't know what the hidden calculator app is. Are you guys familiar with this at all? No? Okay. All right.
That's all that it mentions?
That's all it mentioned. But I saw it mentioned.
I mean, there's a calculator app on the iPhone and on the computer, and it's not hidden.
It secretly hides your confidential photos, videos, documents, passwords, notes, contacts, and to-do lists.
Oh, so it is subterfuge.
It's supposed to look like a calculator.
Cheater!
And probably on the surface,
right? That's
anybody who doesn't have a code just sees it as a calculator, but you enter maybe a certain sequence and then it takes you into.
That's like having a a folder on your desktop that says not porn.
Yeah. No, wait. What was that backwards?
N-Rob.
N-Rob.
That was Dennis's roommate.
Yes, N-Rob.
It was on Dennis's computer, and it was just porn backwards. And it was like,
what might this be?
This
I
one,
can't
this
talk too
person.
much about that. Wait, hold on, Case, real quick. The calculator app. It says to check your kids' phones too, because if their calculator app is taking up like a ton of space, it's that because they're hiding stuff in it.
Okay. This person found out through DoorDash. That's pretty crazy. But with Strava, so what I do, because when you do like a run or a bike or cycling or whatever, the map comes up. But I don't want people to know where I live. You know what I mean? So you can
run to your girlfriend's house.
No. Well, yeah, if you want to do that. No. So I basically have an invisible bubble that stops people from knowing exactly where I started my run.
You can put that over so that you can, because that again, with every one of these where someone has you think, okay, there's a nefarious application of this. There's also a legitimate application, and that in fact happened with the Apple AirTags.
Yeah.
When the Apple AirTags first came out, great for locate. I use them all the time. But what was happening is that guys were placing them in women's pocketbooks at bars and following them home and using the app. So they had to put that thing in that alerts you if an Apple AirTag is in your proximity.
Here's an interesting text. It says, I slept with this woman who almost immediately after sex told me that she was married. So I kicked her out, but I made sure that I used my Uber account to get her home. The last thing I need is an angry husband waiting at my door with a gun.
Yeah.
So instead of actually giving her a ride and her being tracked somehow or another to that house.
Or her using her own Uber account that her husband can see.
Yeah. Good point. Yes. All right, let me go to John. I got John on the line. Hey, John, good morning.
Hello. How are you?
Good, man. What's up, buddy?
So I have a strange thing, but I used to have a way to use my BlackBerry to make international phone calls, and it would use Skype on my home computer.
Yeah.
So I called my buddy in Japan. I was in Buffalo, and it was 11 at night. I had a long drive. I was trying to wind down. I'm like, I'll call Connor. He's in Japan. I'm having a nice little talk with Connor. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what is all that noise? Where are you? Are you at a restaurant or something? And he's like, no, I'm just in my bedroom. I'm in Tokyo. And it was picking up all the noise at my son's house in Haverford. He was throwing this huge party. All of a sudden, he recognized Connor's voice, and he's like a little tipsy. He's like, Connor, hey, man, what's up?
How old was your son at the time?
Oh, teenager, like high school.
Okay.
No.
So he got
a rager while dad's gone.
Don't tell my dad.
Oh, that's funny.
We got hookers.
My neighbor Mike came over, and I'm like, Mike, can you go over and clear out the house? He's like, I don't want Tom to think I'm a dick.
That's
I'm the cool neighbor.
Yeah, that sort of thing, that alert. And you mentioned about if you have your alerts on. And there's that scene in the second Equalizer movie, Preston, where he calls the number. He's sitting at the table with, the killers, the rogue agents. The phone goes off, or at meetings, or at work, or so on and so forth. That can be incredibly embarrassing. And I've seen people have that issue where ding, ding, ding. What's all that about?
If you're cheating, man, do you have to cover your bases
these days?
Yeah.
Categorically, I can say I've never have cheated, but I mean, it's almost like technology is telling you just give it up, hang it up. I mean, the amount of stuff you have to go through to hide your tracks.
Well, and now this is a little separate than the cheating, but now all of the kids are sharing their locations with each other. So everyone knows where everyone is at all times. And you have to go in and remember to turn it off for certain people if you don't want them to know where you are. Like, to me, that's... why is everyone sharing their damn location? I don't get it.
I know. You need to, that's why it's something that I always say with my wife is that if we're out at some place or at a restaurant or whatever, before you take a picture of the food or whatever and post it, wait till we get home.
Wait till we get home.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess maybe if you're talking about younger people, Kathy, are you talking about that? Like teenagers, maybe?
Teenagers, they're all sharing. Listen, I get it.
That's how they meet up. I mean, I guess,
Yeah, but then when you're not invited.
Yes, you're causing. Now there's these fights.
There's
because,
like immediate.
True.
Why did you turn your location services off with me? Where are you?
I want to know.
Yeah, because when we were coming up, you didn't know that you missed the party until
Monday. Until
Monday,
yeah.
You're like, oh, you guys.
Even then,
yeah.
The lack. You had your group of friends, and that was it. But now you have multiple layers that go your main friends, your secondary friends, your third level friends.
Here's a text says, I had already known that my husband was cheating, but liars lie and continue to lie about everything. So I found out just how much he was cheating by looking at Google Maps because it logs every time you go somewhere. Okay.
Now, obviously, every one of these things at some level can be foiled by simply, erasing them, or as you said, Casey, setting the parameters by which you don't want to be followed. But somewhere, somehow, think of all the cameras, all the apps, an ATM withdrawal, anything.
Yeah.
It's all there.
I don't cheat, but I do sneak off to do things that my wife would probably prefer that I don't do, or that I should be doing more productive things.
Where's that sound clip?
Like going to the driving range. And there have been occasions where I'm like, well, I could just tell her that I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm running an errand or I'm at the store or whatever. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, we have the Find My iPhone app, and she knows exactly where I am at all point in time, so don't even try it.
I'm at the line. Hey, Tiger, say hi to my wife.
Yeah.
There's the app Life 360 that a lot of parents have for their kids. And I have a friend who turns her location services off because she doesn't want her kids to know where she is. Because she'll constantly say, yeah, I'm on my way. Yeah. And she's, sitting at a coffee shop, taking her time.
Yeah. Have you, when you were in your younger, more cavalier days, did you ever get busted cheating, or did you cheat? And
I philandered a little bit when there were relationships that were
going asunder,
or exactly. You're retiring out,
right?
And so
not overt, But were you ever caught red-handed sort of thing?
Yeah, not red-handed, but there was
Engorged?
one time where she's like, I know because you were idiot and you told other people that you
there you
banged this person. So yeah, it happened a couple times.
I noticed when the quality of your essays improved.
Wait a second.
God, I wonder what happened to that girl. You wrote my essays
you wrote an
for
incredible
me.
essay
My
on the
junior
Chernobyl
year.
disaster.
She was a senior. Let me go next to Aaron. Hi, Aaron. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, what's up, Aaron?
Not much. So a couple years ago, I was a 911 police dispatcher.
Okay.
And on one shift, a resident in our area tried to report his girlfriend missing. They were kind of like in an argument. He called. He gave us a location where he thought she lived. We sent officers over. We checked on her. She was fine. She was just like, I'm not answering the phone. We're in a fight. No big deal. The next morning, he tried to do it again because they had mutual friends that played the Pokemon Go app.
Right, yeah.
He could see that she was at one of these guys' addresses through her Pokemon app and tried to report her missing again so we could send officers over to his house to prove that she was there and cheating on him.
Okay, so there was the Pokemon Go app that helped incriminate her.
Yes.
Okay, wow. Yeah, something as benign as Pokemon.
I like that. All right, thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
We'll see ya. All right, let me go next to Bob. Hey, Bob. Good morning, buddy.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning to see you. What's up, man?
Bob! Hey, I put Life 360 on my kid's phone so I know where she is all the time. So it turned on me one time. I told her I was going to get my hair cut, and I stopped at the bar in Hatfield. And she texted me. She goes, Dad, are you at PJ's? And I said, no, I'm getting my hair cut.
You got caught in your own trap.
Exactly.
I love it, though.
Just be careful with Life 360 because your kids know where you are.
So that's the whole purpose, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what my friend
Bob.
did. She's like, are you kidding? She's like, I am not letting them know I'm going to Target for the second time today.
It reminds me, there was I was watching Modern Family last night, and so Haley is at this the more trampy daughter is at this function, and her mother calls her, and she's at a family function, and she goes, oh my God, I'm right here. I'm waving to you. And she's nowhere near her. I'm waving to you. Oh my God, just wait there.
I'm going to go to Joe, who's been on hold for a moment here. Hey, Joe, morning, bud.
Hey, Preston.
Hey, what's up, my man?
Hey, so I got a pretty good one. Most people have Apple products, so I found out through a friend at work that his wife called him cheating because, most people do family sharing through Apple Music and games and stuff like that.
Right.
So one day, his wife decided to go into the App Store, and all your shared apps are there. So it says your apps or shared apps. So his wife clicks shared apps, and lo and behold, his wife's scrolling through and sees that he's on Tinder.
Oh, boy.
So he tells me that she wakes him up at 5 o'clock in the morning. showing him his phone and that, he's got Tinder and he's got some explaining to do. And, he had a bunch of excuses and things like that. And
Wow.
ended up leaving him.
She ended up leaving him?
Yeah. Well, you would. I think that would be a big red flag if your partner was actively on Tinder.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Nick, we had this guy on the phone line, then we lost him. But he had texted and said, I was a habitual cheater on my first marriage, and it was like having a full-time job.
Yes.
Which I can imagine if you're married and you're going through not just you had sex with somebody, you're having an affair. I would imagine you would need to get like separate credit cards or
cash, and then even with cash
or just cash or whatever, you have to have a whole separate section of your life that is in unto itself.
There is a great movie from years ago. It's called A Guide for the Married Man. This is years ago, way prior to any of this technology that we currently have. And they show, I forget who it was. There's a whole bunch of vignettes, Preston featuring the comedians of the time. And this guy goes through this elaborate thing. It might have been Carl Reiner is the guy who's cheating. And, the story's being described, and he goes across country, and he goes into the Arctic, and he's rowing across a pond, and he's like there and crawling through the woods and all this stuff, and he gets to this cabin, and he gets into the cabin, and the woman's there, this voluptuous woman, she, opens up her jacket, and she's wearing lingerie, and he starts to walk towards her, and the door opens up, and it's his wife with a couple of photographers. Gotcha!
Nice.
How?
Nice. By the way, there was an article Steve sent me, this guy named Albert Arnaz. Has claimed that he's had more than 100 affairs while in serious relationships. So he's written a book on essentially how to be unfaithful without getting caught.
Right.
But he also includes some tips, some clues on how you can find out somebody's playing around on you.
Well, clearly one could use this information to find out, how a practiced philanderer would operate.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of stuff. Some of this is kind of
obvious.
Some of it's weak though.
Yeah.
But other things like in the digital realm, his advice on how a cheater can cover their digital tracks is comprehensive and painstaking. It says, but it says a watchful spouse should check if he's always facing the door while on his phone or laptop when you walk in the room. That's to hide the screen.
If they're always facing the door,
if they're facing the
you
door,
can't see the screen.
So if you come walking in, you're not going to be able to see what he's looking at. Or perhaps he turns off his data spewing smartwatch at odd times so that it doesn't record 20 minutes of aerobic activity at 11 a.m. when he claims to be visiting his mother.
20 minutes?
Well,
4 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. There's foreplay, too. Maybe he gets all excited.
All right, 8 minutes.
And it also says if he's deactivated his Google Maps history.
Well, there you go. That seems to be one of the big indictors.
Realistically, he says most men become careless with tech or slip up. People use multiple apps but don't know all the functions and features of each. For example, with Google Maps, most people don't know that there is a history and you can see where your husband has been in the last 3 months on the app. If he has deactivated, why? And if he hasn't, how does he react when you ask to take a look?
And if you want, the safe response is, are you on your period?
Yeah, right. Dude, Rochelle and I, we have our phones, we have the exact same security code. So we have nothing. It's like, and it was over a few years. Like we'd be in the car together and she wanted to check something on her phone. She'd be driving or whatever. And I'm like, well, what's your code? I'm like, we need to just have the same
code.
Yeah.
Is that way she peers into every moment of my life and I can do the same.
She knows all my stuff. We have the same calendar. All that stuff.
I love the shared calendar.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I believe I told you guys this. Yeah, I did tell you guys this before, but my wife and I, we used to have the same Apple ID. And then she was getting phone calls that were meant to go to me. So like at one point I was watching football or something like that. And there's a listener who listens to our show. His name's Sean. Sean has my phone number and he called me one time and I'm downstairs. My phone doesn't ring at all. Okay. And my wife
defaulted to hers.
She goes, you got a phone call? There's Sean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Why is he? Okay. And I answer. I'm like,
Sean, why are you calling my wife?
Why are you calling my wife? But he didn't. He called me, but it went to I guess it went through the Apple ID. It didn't go through the Apple.
I had to put on my Sean voice.
But the final straw was me getting woken up at like 2:00 in the morning. My wife going, who the hell is this? and it was she gets a text message that says, "I love you, XOXOXO." Okay,
I know.
I'm going to ask you guys.
Jackie Bam Bam.
That's awesome.
That's great.
You know, so if you ever actually wanted to cheat, you could use Jackie as a cover.
Right.
And designate
Jackie.
that phone number as somebody else.
That's a great idea because Jackie sends lovey-dovey stuff all the time.
I did what you asked. I pretended I was your lover.
Or
Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, I just said the same thing.
Love ya.
You can put it as Dr. Mike, and he just send you all this gushy stuff. I went to see Dr. Mike yesterday. He gave me. It took 5 minutes to leave because he just wouldn't stop telling me how much he loved me.
Yeah.
And we were just
You could be
gushing
like,
on each
that's
other.
not
He's the best.
sexting. It's Dr.
That's
Mike. He's
Dr.
telling
Mike.
me what I should be doing.
He said, whoever this was, said they put their finger in your ass.
Oh, it's Dr. Mike.
Yeah. That's right.
Who did that?
Did you, Preston, on your way out or at any point in your visit yesterday, did you get a kiss on top of your head?
I did not. Not yesterday. I have
All right.
before, but not yesterday.
Kisses?
On top of the head.
Yeah.
Oh,
I find that very touching.
He's the best.
Sweetheart.
I actually couldn't believe that you made a doctor's appointment during the eclipse. Like I thought you would want to.
Well, it was
be
already on the
outside.
books.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to reschedule it, and then I didn't realize. And then afterwards, I'm like, I've seen eclipses before. It's no big deal. We did look out the window.
There's clouds.
And it was dark.
Don't worry, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah. I know. We may touch on that in a little bit after we talk to Dan Soder. We have to take a break, Case?
We do.
Okay. Do I have time for
I
another
want
call?
you to go to Josh real quick.
All right, let me go to him then. Hi, Josh. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys. You guys rock.
Appreciate it. What's up?
So I was dating this woman, and she just gotten a new kitten, and we were excited. And she sent me a picture. It was clawing at her laptop screen, but what she didn't know is in the background was the iMessage app up saying, texting her friend saying she cheated on me last night.
Whoa!
And I zoomed in on it, sent it back to her, and she was like, I tried calling her, no answer, and then, that was a little surprising.
This is the kitten in the picture. The bitch is a cheater. What can I
That sucks, but that's an interesting way to
that
find
you would.
out.
A lot
All
of
right.
people have been,
Thanks, Josh.
be caught with the background stuff and forgetting to eliminate
Zooming
them
in.
from the picture. Yeah.
Do you remember? I know we have to break, but this is a little older tech. But I remember in the Behind the Music with Billy Idol, he was busted cheating by his wife because he was on the phone with his lover, and he was in the room with their baby, and the baby monitor was on. And she was in the other room. She heard
could
him
hear?
talking to him.
Wait, who was this?
Billy Idol. Busted cold by the baby monitor. And then you have on top of the fact he's sitting there talking to his lover in front of his child who's an infant and the whole thing. Wow. All right. Well, just interesting stories. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back in a moment. Dan Soder will be joining us because he's got a new special available now on YouTube, and he's a great guy to talk to. So we'll do that when we get back. And don't forget another shot coming up at 10 o'clock for your chance to win $1,000 with Good Money It. We'll be right back.
And that's your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
Never in my life did I ever think that I would meet someone who had a larger cranium than our own Nick McElwain. But this gentleman proved it in the studio. Might have been the last time he was here. We had you guys try hats on, and he indeed has a bigger head than you.
Congrats.
And he's a good friend.
Filled with comedy, though.
We are so happy to welcome our good friend Dan Soder to the show. Hey, Dan, how you doing, man? Oh,
we can't hear you.
Can't hear you, man. Casey, what are you pointing at?
Where do you have?
I have everything on.
Oh, 1 second, Dan. We're reconnoitering the FISM.
The fizz of it?
Yeah.
No, everything's working on this end.
It looks like he might be muted on his end.
I think he might be muted. Dan.
You
There
guys
you
figured
go.
it out.
Yeah.
Figured out the riddle.
Sorry.
I was literally just wondering if the next time I'm in studio, you're going to make us run at each other like rams.
Yes.
Who has a bigger head?
Please.
Let's somebody write that down.
It's going to be the first radio appearance that ends in CTE.
Oh my God.
Man. Speaking of banging heads, were you ever a football player? Did you ever have...
I was a horrible one because I had to lug this giant head up and down the field. But then
You're like a
the thing-
bobblehead.
God, man.
Yeah, what I would make when I'd make contact with people, their helmets would be filled with applesauce because I just explode their
Listen,
heads.
I the first time I ever had my bell rung, as a kid, I played football and we did helmet to helmet contact, and I literally saw yellow stars. It went black, and I saw like this spark or yellow stars. And the kid must have had a head like you because it felt like I went head to head with a ram. It was nuts.
Yeah, I was horrible at football, but good at hitting people.
That's why it's so wild, though. And I had my fair share of football, but I remember thinking the same thing. And then, like, I was always stunned that they were so shocked that it was causing this collateral brain damage. Like, how's that happening?
Yeah.
Well, you know what's good about having the science now is now we can blame small stuff on football from high school, like getting mad at traffic for no reason.
It was my football injury.
Traffic race.
Yeah, and also why our dads were so mean. They're like, well, they played football with leather helmets. Of course they're not going to be good fathers.
Preston's dad did play, right? He didn't play with leather helmets, but he played with
He played with the punter helmet.
Yeah.
But he was an offensive
face
lineman, and he just had the one line going across there.
That should protect.
And then any hockey family will tell you that we're being a bunch of wusses and that they played goalie without a mask.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's probably way worse.
Yeah. They were just insane, that's all. Wow.
So the new special, Dan, and I paid you the highest compliment, I think, coming into this, we're talking with Preston. Your material is so sharp, but it's also so you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and it is basically a lot. No one can do Dan Soder material like Dan Soder, and it is that. It's that gift, and I'd put you in that sort of delivery of a Norm Macdonald. It has to be you saying it, and then it just kills. When you're doing specials like this, and you're dealing with the nuance that is you, is it just like a muscle memory, or do you have to work at it?
Honestly, I wish I had some artistic answer like a cool rock band.
Yeah.
But it's just me BSing. It's just me being probably a guy that would get fired from any other job for talking like that. So it's just nice that I get to do comedy.
You know what? I like that because that you are you, and we've had you. Obviously, we're huge fans. We've had you in the studio many times, and you love to hear that because it's kind of weird. And I'm sure over the course of your comedic career, you've met someone who you sort of looked up to, and you thought, "Oh, this guy's probably this way," and then you meet them, and they're like, we had Emo in here one time, and he was great, but Emo left here like we had the bubonic plague. I mean, he just once the segment was over, he just like right out the door.
There is a reason that they say never meet your heroes because 90% of the time that is true. That you're just like, oh man, it's like seeing Santa take off, like a mall Santa take off the beard by his car. You're just like, oh, you suck. Oh no.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting too, especially people who are fans of comedy and never had a chance to spend time talking to some comedians when they're not on, when they're not performing, because it can go to dark places when you talk to some comedians.
I think I'm very, very lucky that myself and my very close friends, who also happen to be phenomenal comedians like Big J. Okerson, Nate Bargatze, and Shane Gillis. I think all my friends are very much who they are on stage.
Yeah.
And that makes it like, oh, cool. At least I'm not friends with a sociopath.
Right.
Like, I don't want to watch someone turn it on. It's just my friends being themselves.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned Shane. I want to talk to you about him in just a moment. But you and Shane both have something that you guys do on stage that I absolutely love. And it's a really, really subtle thing. And it's just the way you guys smile, right? It's either right before a joke or right after a joke, and you just have the smile that you're like, dude, I know this is funny. I know it's not right.
That was something I had to learn because I think I want to say after living in New York for a little bit, a comedian came up to me one time and he was like, dude, it's okay to smile and have fun up there. You look like you're just like a drill instructor saying these weird, funny things and then just having a blank face.
Right.
So, I think especially Jay and Shane, you can tell how much fun they're having on stage, and that's always something that I love to do is it's a hang, man. We're getting paid to hang out with people. So
yeah, that's something I never understood. It's a conceit that we never succumbed to, or however you want to say it, during the course of our radio careers, which is that this projected we're pissed off all the time, and our management's a bunch of a-holes and so on and so forth. It's a false construct, and just for the same reason, I wouldn't hire a plumber who is perpetually pissed off. I don't want to go to my source of entertainment and find out that they're not enjoying what they're doing.
Yeah, but also with a plumber, you don't want them, messing around with poop and having too much fun, because then you're like, what are you into, dude?
Good point. Valid point. Yes.
Guys, like, I love playing around in piss. And you're like, oh, no. Oh, no.
There should be some healthy disdain for it. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
So I watched your special with my son, and I was talking to you briefly off air about it. Listen, he's almost 17, and we've heard worse in the rap lyrics with the music that he listens to. But you there was one moment where, and I assume that this is a true story about where you heard the term BJ for the first time, and then you used it out of context.
Oh, yeah. It was, that's like, the truth behind that bit is it's based on like 3 true things that happened. And then I just, turned them into one bit. But I got in a lot of trouble for yelling the word blowjob.
And I'm not going to ask you to tell the joke. So if anybody listening right now or watching on YouTube hasn't seen the special, we're not going to do it now. Watch his special on YouTube, and it's awesome. But I'm telling you, like, I'm sitting there with my son, and it wasn't awkward at all.
You guys were able to pair over a BJ. How nice.
The old father-son tradition.
Well, I have, and I've said this on air, Dan, is that I actually, one of my clearest memories of my dad is coming home on a Sunday evening where my dad was sure I was out at another location, and I came back through the unlocked screen door and saw my mom delivering that very act to my
Well, you know what? I think there's something to be said about that, because it teaches you intimacy at a young age.
Yes.
Right? At least you saw.
You're right.
Honestly, how long were your parents married?
There was a decent amount of time at that point. Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying, that's showing you how they're keeping their marriage alive.
Totally.
Yeah.
When a man loves a woman, this is right.
Yeah. I would have rather walked into that than having to stand in a courtroom and pick which parent to live with.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Yeah.
You kind of go, mom's a little bit of a whore, but I like her a little bit better, and that's why dad's shoulders are always relaxed.
It's true. He's very relaxed around the house.
Hey, I want to ask about the championship belt there on the top row behind you in the background. Are you a fantasy football champ?
No, I'm a fan of professional wrestling. And specifically the 1992 SummerSlam winners, Legion of Doom. That is a very nerdy wrestling belt. That is not I watched wrestling when I was a kid. That was I'm still committed to this day. Which, by the way, I just want to say, Philadelphia, great job at WrestleMania 40. You guys really showed up and were an awesome crowd.
It was a big event here. We're a little butthurt because we've done nothing but support them, and we love the guys when they come in. The wrestlers are always charismatic on the air, and we really, it doesn't matter. You give us a 9th, 10th tier wrestler, and then the biggest wrestling event, in decades comes here, and they went radio silent on us, Dan.
Oh, man. You know what? That's a bummer, man. And I think you guys should call them out.
We're going to destroy that company.
Cut a promo on them.
They don't know.
You want to come here when you're selling out bingo halls, but you got the link sold out, and you can't even. Yeah, I would be very mad about that.
But so did you come down here for it?
No. I watched from the comfort of home.
Okay.
WrestleMania is a spectacle. And I just wanted to stay at home and watch it.
I don't even know who won. Like, I saw The Rock got beat up a little bit. Did he lose the match? Or
Yeah, Cody Rhodes finished the story. Cody Rhodes beat the tribal chief Roman Reigns. It was a great WrestleMania. It was really, really good. I had a lot of fun watching it.
We've had those dudes in, and they're terrific. I mean, whatever the training process is or whatever that gets them really adept at dealing with the public and media is spot on.
Yeah, I love it, and they're getting better and better. And Triple H runs stuff over there now, and it's gotten so good, and the storylines have been fun, and that's a bummer to hear they didn't really reach out to you guys, especially when you're supporting them coming up. But they did a great job, and it was cool the way they had. The one thing that bugged me was, and they do this every year at WrestleMania, all the wrestlers pander to the city, and wear the colors of the football team, and you're like, guys, one of you can do it, not everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the Rock, he came in and he was doing the opposite of that, where he was talking trash about the Eagles.
Oh, last night Monday Night Raw was in Philly from the Wells Fargo, and he did say, he's got the line where he's like, I've never seen a bunch of white trash all assembled, and they got nuts. It was awesome.
But they love that. I mean,
it's the best.
It's part of the whole thing.
Yeah, being a heel in wrestling's got to be the most fun because you get to talk the most crap in a way that you're just like, it's got to be cathartic.
Who's your favorite heel of all time?
Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper
yeah.
is the best of all time, I think.
Yeah,
I think he was the fastest, the funniest. He was the best on the mic.
Hey, I'm curious about working on a really great TV show because we're friendly with you, Dan, and we're friendly with Joe DeRosa, and Joe was on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and you've been on Billions since it started. Does it ever surprise you to watch yourself on a show like that? Because it's so terrific, and you're great on it. But it's one of those things where I'm curious as to whether or not you are, if you're flipping through the channels, you're like, oh my god, yeah, I'm actually on Billions.
It's one of those things where I enjoyed the show and hated every time I came up.
So you hate seeing yourself.
Yeah, I would be watching it, I'd be like, oh man, this is a good episode. Oh God, I suck. I suck so bad. Why is my hand doing that? Oh my God, you suck.
Do you think it's made you better?
As far as what? Person,
I mean,
or just
no. I mean, a better actor. Like when you sit there and watch, and you can sort of nitpick. Each little decision.
I think that whole process was really good as far as how to learn how to act and also how to sell jokes better on stage and all that stuff. I don't think I was bit by the acting bug. I wasn't like, oh, I need to dedicate my life to the craft. But I definitely think I picked up some stuff on how to be a better comedian through it.
Yeah, I just feel like stand-up comedians are actors. I mean, you're up there and you're delivering a monologue.
Yeah, it really teaches you how to sell the bits every, night in and night out. So that was very it was a cool skill to learn and to learn from some of the coolest actors, David Costner, Maggie Siff, Damian Lewis. There's a lot of great actors that I was around it was just awesome to be like, hey, am I doing this right? And they were like, because I didn't hide the fact when I was on set. I was like, hey guys, I'm a comic and I'm learning how to do this. Can you help me? And I think actors like that. Yeah, actors like that because they don't think you're coming for their check.
Well, Dan, it was also the first time, for me anyway, in pop culture, being introduced to somebody using pronouns like they and them, and you had a lot of scenes with Asia, Kate Dillon, and they preferred those pronouns. Was that a new experience for you as well? Because for me, it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was a brand new experience for me, and Asia is a sweetheart, and we had a great time working together, and it was a thing where, you see online and you see everyone be like, I would never do that or whatever, but then you're like, you meet a person and you're like, yeah, man, I'll absolutely respect what you want me to do.
You got to take everyone on their own basis,
here's the thing that the internet makes you forget: when you're face to face, you don't chirp the way you do on the internet.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
People get real big, and then you get in the room and you're like, oh, you're a person. Yeah. If you're halfway decent, you just want to be like, hey, I want to make you feel comfortable, and you're a coworker. Imagine if I was like, my pronouns are proud American, and then I'd be like, well, what a jerk.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up, and I forgot about this, Katie Nolan.
My sweet queen.
Your sweet queen did really well on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Dude, that was, let me tell you right now, I have one of my oldest friends is an NFL coach. Two of my friends are the biggest comedians in the world. And I would say that was the most proud and intense situation I've ever been in. We're a big Jeopardy house. And being able to go to those tapings was incredible. It was an experience of a lifetime. It was so fun. I was, I felt like, I keep saying this, but I felt like Woody Harrelson in White Men Can't Jump.
We're massive fans. Love the series, and then we've had a number of the winners on, and we've had a lot of local winners. We've had on the show as well. But Ken and the whole thing. There's such an aura around it, and there's a great shot of you. She ran into your arms, and you could see.
I was so pumped.
Yeah,
I mean, she might as well have won the NLCS. It was like I felt like I was just so proud of her. She went on a couple runs where I was like, get 'em. It was great. At one point, she's really good at word clues. Like she's really, really good at word clues. And there was I think in the semifinals, she had a run of one of the subjects, and I was sitting next to Ken Jennings' wife, and I turned to her and I went, she's in the zone, like in White Man Can't Jump.
That's right.
And Ken Jennings' wife went, what? And I was like, nothing. It was a White Man Can't Jump reference.
That's great. You had mentioned your friend, Mike McDaniel. We found this out the last time we had you in here. So Mike McDaniel, he's the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
And he's your best friend?
Well, yeah, he's one of my oldest friends in the world. We grew up together in Aurora in Colorado, and I ended up being a clown, and he ended up running the Miami Dolphins.
Wow. But he's so goofy too.
Yeah, that's him. That's absolutely him. That there is none of that. It's funny to see online people be like, "Oh, he's putting that on," and you're like, "Nah, dude, that dude's just a weirdo." He's just a really smart weirdo who's fun and hilarious.
Does he have a different coach mode that he goes into, or
I think he can get there. I think the way he talks to his players, I think it's the new school era of he talks to players like coworkers and not like a drill sergeant.
Okay.
And I think you see a lot of guys like that. Kyle Shanahan, LaFleur, a lot of guys that came from the Shanahan tree. There's this, like, they can get down to business when they need to get down to business, but I think they're like, it's what McDaniel always tells me. He tells his players, like, hey, I'm here to get the best out of you so that we can win and we both can be successful. And I think that's a way to really get guys to work for you.
I always wonder because I clearly don't have the stuff to be a coach at any level, but I always wondered if anything that breaks that veneer of you being the authoritative figure, the quote unquote let your hair down, if that
I think it's more damaging if you do that whole drill sergeant, I'm not your dad,
right,
I'm here to tell you, and then there is something in the press that breaks you. I don't know, maybe crying at the national anthem. Maybe that probably might break your I'm just busting your balls.
I know. You're making fun of Nick Sirianni, dude. Well, listen, when McDaniel, if he ever gets to the Super Bowl, let's see if he sheds a tear or not. But hey.
I mean, I would too. I would cry. It's a beautiful song.
Hey, you cried at Jeopardy.
I think it's cool that you made it to onto McDaniel's Wikipedia page. I think that's pretty neat.
Well, I think that's edited by another person, but yes.
Edited by him.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's just kind of like it's just showing the new age of the NFL coaching, where they're just kind of like, hey, I'm just we're all trying to get to the same goal, which is a Super Bowl, which is a Super Bowl championship. So why he's not but I think he can also get to the point where I've seen him get in people's face, and it's kind of nuts because you're like, damn, dude, all right, get it. I went to a practice last training camp, and I saw him kind of get in someone's ear, and I was like, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
He doesn't look big, right? He played wide receiver. Was doing a little a shallow dive on him. He went to Yale and was a wide receiver there. So I mean,
he was like an undersized receiver, but this was before the before Edelman and before the Patriots made it cool to have a tiny white guy that can get clobbered across the middle. He was just kind of small at Yale.
I wanted to address, because your impressions are very good, and I just recently became aware of your ability to Cat Williams, and then
Cat Williams,
and Cat Williams for me is kind of an enigma now at this point, because I've always appreciated that he's an effective stand-up. I don't know if he's exactly my style, but
he's top 10 for me.
Yeah, but I mean he seems like he's at that point where if he was effort before, he's now nuclear effort and just doesn't care. Is he like a pre-freebasing Richard Pryor at this point, or is he?
I think he's in a category, all of them. So, I don't think you can put Cat Williams into a category. I think he's been killing it for over 20 years, more than that. And I think he's been consistently touring in arenas for like 15 years.
Yeah.
People don't realize that.
Super huge.
I'd put Pimp Chronicles up against any other special ever made. I think he is legitimately one of the greatest of all time. And I don't even think, and it's kind of funny that Shannon Sharp interview, made a lot of people more aware of him. But go back and watch some of his specials, man. And I don't think there's few people that are funnier. I mean, I'm talking all time, funnier than Cat Williams.
I've seen stuff that's been hilarious. I've seen stuff that maybe just didn't land with me, but the guy clearly has the talent. But are you friends with him? Are you?
No, I don't know. I don't know him.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be friends with a giant honky like me.
He might refer to you as a giant honky.
Oh, absolutely.
He'd like, this white boy is too big and has too big of a head.
Yeah, I don't think he would. I don't know if he'd be down with me, but I love him. I'm a big Cat Williams fan.
There you go.
If you're just tuning in, it's Dan Soder we're talking to. Who's got a comedy special On the Road, which is now on YouTube. And you also you got several months of your most recent podcast, Soder, underway. I haven't heard the most recent episode, but Connor, one of our producers, went in and kind of pulled some topics that you hit on. It says here, caddy on the PGA Tour. What were you talking about?
I had Neil Brennan on, whose special Crazy Good is on Netflix, I think right now. So I'll help Neil plug that. But Neil was on the podcast talking about his whole family's from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The Brennans, his brother Kevin, who's a hilarious comedian.
Ocean City.
And
we just had him on a little while ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was telling me a story about how, God, back in the 80s, his brother was a caddy for the PGA Tour. And I was just like, that's nuts. And this was like, I forgot who he caddied for. Okay. But I was just saying that's got to be, he had like a bunch of hookups. He was telling me about all the sports hookups, including, how his brother was a caddy at the PGA. His other brother, I think, was a manager was a manager at the Spectrum. So he was able to go to the Spectrum all the time.
Okay.
And it was just, it was, man, it's fun. Since leaving the bonfire, I needed to do something so people could land somewhere.
Right.
So I started a podcast out of my apartment. That's, it's just to plug my dates and to talk to a friend about what they got going on.
You do it right where you're talking to us right now? Is this where you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is exactly where I do it. So it was just something where I felt like, hey, what is it? It's an hour a week. It's real, low risk, low reward, but it's been fun as hell. So
it's something you got used to and you didn't want to completely give it up.
Yeah, I also kind of like missed seeing people.
Yeah.
Kind of missed seeing my friends come in and, if they got something to plug, that's a bonus, and throw it up on YouTube and see who wants to watch it. But I wasn't like, this is redefining podcasting. It was like, oh, hey, I bought some cameras and some mics and we'll have a conversation for you.
I remember during the first, big rush of the podcast where it was like, complete Wild West. And then after a while, it became very incestuous. Everyone relaying the different versions of the same story. Right.
Yeah.
And now I think it's starting to settle into what it was always going to be anyway. Which is in a way, and we'll have a lot of comedians come in here with podcasts, or anybody in general with podcasts, and they will comment on how we structure the show and how we generate content. And it sort of does follow. You have to have a bit of a plan. No matter how informal it is, you have to have a direction. The old, hey, we'll just turn on the mics and talk.
That was kind of the bonfire for 8 years. And then when I was doing the bonfire, and it was kind of, there is, like, I have learned from doing radio and from doing podcasting, it's like, you got to have some stuff that if it falls flat, you can go, well, here's a news story.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go like,
you described my whole career.
Preston, show him the stack of, here, we got something here.
Talk about it. I got it right here.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. That looks like you're taking someone to court.
Totally, man. Dan, we literally have a segment that we sometimes go to. It's called Stack O Topics. And Preston just has a stack of stuff over there that we might talk about at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. Yeah. Hey, I'm looking at your tour schedule. You're not coming to Philadelphia anytime soon. Are you involved at all with the Netflix Is a Joke comedy thing going on next month?
I plead the fifth. No, I'm not involved with it, but a lot of my friends are, so I don't want to be dismissive.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it just is like kind of one of those things where it's there's a ton of shows in LA. If you're in LA, you're going to have an opportunity to see anyone in comedy except me. But yeah, I did the Fillmore in Philly in December.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable, man. That place is so much fun. And, I'll probably be back. I'd probably say like early 2025, maybe.
Okay. Good.
Have a whole new hour. I want to come back with a whole new hour. So.
Okay. You got to swing by here when that is the case.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Sure.
You guys have always been so cool to me, man, and I really appreciate it. I always really appreciated it.
Absolutely, man. All right, brother. Well, listen, we're going to let you run. It is good to chat. The new special is called On the Road. You can check that out. It is only on YouTube. Look for it. Dan Soder, and, of course, his podcast, Soder. Stay well, brother. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. I'm sorry the WWE did that. I'll hit him with a chair if I can.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Dan Soder, friends. Love it. He's the best. And, that whole crew that he mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
With Jay and Nate and everybody.
Shane Gillis,
Always been just cool, easy to talk to people.
Yeah, and when you talk about the ability of a collective to sort of riff, and there's what they all excel at that. But again, it's funny how many times we've had people come in here and go, "Well, okay." That sense of momentum is a critical part of these things.
Yep. Hey, real quick, and we didn't touch on this at all today because we just have a moment here or two because we'll have to break in a second to get ready for the next Good Money It.
Yep.
Chance to win $1,000. But we haven't mentioned the
Cloud Lips,
the clouds, and the eclipse, the cloud lips. I did see this, and now there weren't just. There were places in the country where you could see it just fine. But it turns out the whole thing may have been an IQ test because according to Google Trends, searches for terms like "my eyes hurt" and "why do my eyes hurt" exploded in activity on Google around the time when the moon passed between the Earth and the sun.
I did freak out yesterday for a second. I was in car line to pick up Jace, and I put my phone out the sunroof to take a picture, and I kind of got like a flash in my eye. And remember the guy that called in yesterday said that his eye was like tearing and watering and felt dry at the same time? I was like, oh my God, I think my right eye, I think the retina, it's burned to death. I was like freaking out for a good hour, and then I forgot about it and it went away.
Oh, good.
There were no clouds in the sky when we were doing the show yesterday, and then the clouds rolled in when the eclipse happened, and then it essentially got clear afterwards too. And my fiance is a bit of an amateur photographer, and so she got all of her equipment out, and she bought this solar filter, and we went out to Valley Forge.
I was thinking about you guys.
But the cool thing, Kath, is that like when the clouds parted, or there were like thin layers of clouds,
you could still see,
you could see them, and especially if you have a good solar lens. She ended up getting some great photographs. In fact, so much so that she got some sunspots in one of her photos, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it was neat. And then at another point, a plane passed in between us and burned up and the sun.
But right at the time.
Well, the time that the solar eclipse, when it was like at its highest point, when it was at like 90% or whatever.
Completely cloudy.
Yeah, it was very, very cloudy.
Wow.
And Valley Forge was packed, by the way. There were a lot of people getting in.
You said there was a line to get in, right?
There was a line getting in. I was near the visitor center, and then Steve, the line to get out afterwards. I was thinking about something you brought up yesterday on the show, Preston. Was like, were there a decent amount of accidents yesterday while people were driving because they were looking out their sunroof or out their windows?
That's a good question.
I hope not. You weren't supposed to be looking at it.
I was in the city and I did see many people just kind of glancing up, and they did have the glasses on. But why? I'm curious. Why Valley Forge? Why was that? I mean, you can just go out on your back porch and see it if you wanted to.
The Revolutionary War.
Oh,
yeah, right.
It's a big open space. You get nice pictures.
Okay. It's just a nice place
and I guess
to hang out.
maybe had it been more optimal conditions, you would have gotten a grander scale as to, the shade and how things were. Because when I was at Dr. Mike's office at the time that it was happening, and I did look out the window at the time, and unfortunately, it just looked like a cloudy day. It looked like to me, it looked like, storm clouds or something because it was that dark.
So it got to me in the house, it got very dark. I stepped outside and just looked around, and it was duskish.
Yeah, that was the one thing that was really cool for me because you couldn't see it. The clouds came completely over, and right at the time, you couldn't see anything. But that shadow or that feeling, the coloring.
The moon shadow.
But like Derek Pitts said yesterday, he said it will be different than just a cloud going over the sun. And sure enough, it was. I felt like it was sort of like a grayish, yellowy tint.
Okay.
Yeah. There were people also present at Valley Forge yesterday. They were partying. Like people brought out picnics and they brought out booze and they were having a good time. So the park was pretty packed.
I did see some video footage of apparently a lot of people got married yesterday during the eclipse throughout the country.
They were called Total Eclipse of the Hearts events.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they showed some video of people who were in the path of totality when the complete eclipse happened. And it looked like, Twilight, like Derek Pitts was saying. Like, it was much darker than I thought it might have been.
I think Alex Holly was might have been in Texas.
She was in Dallas, yeah.
So she had a couple of pictures and video. It looked like nighttime.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been told that we are traveling for the next solar eclipse, and apparently we're going to Egypt because in like 2032 or whatever it's happening there, and so we're
going to bring all the equipment.
We're going to chase it down. Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
Dude.
Yeah.
Listen, that is a cool thing to put on that you want to chase eclipses around the world. That's pretty cool.
Anybody hear from Bill, our old boss? Because he went up to Buffalo to see it.
He was going up to Buffalo. He had an RV, brought the whole family up. Can't see a goddamn thing.
I had to go.
Bill.
But if you want like I think I never realized how bright the sun is until I was looking at the eclipse through my glasses, and I'm like, wow, the sun's actually really small in the sky, and you know what I mean? And
I see what you're saying. The actual, when you see the orb through those protective glasses, you see it as a much tinier object as opposed to the brightness that comes out.
And the brightness
when
makes
you
it
just
look
look
like
up
it's-
at the
Yes.
sky and see the sun. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So in the universe, our sun is considered relatively small.
Yeah. Right.
There are super suns.
Yeah. I mean, but compared to us, it's insanely massive.
big bastard.
But you would think that looking
Big honking.
by what it looks like normally in the sky, that it would be. I know what you're saying.
And
I've been able to put both fingers around it when I look up. That's how you.
I got to thank Ritas for having us out there. We were at, I think it was 3730 Kirkwood Highway in
You had a good
Wilmington.
crowd.
We had a great crowd. I pulled up. I got there a little bit before 2 o'clock in the park. It felt like that a little bit.
Yeah.
But as I pulled up, the parking lot was just full of people. And then, throughout the 2 hours that I was there, people just kept, pulling up. And we had 200 pairs of those glasses to give away. We gave them all away. It was a really, really fun time.
Yeah, well, right before and right after. I mean, that peak time where it was 90%, you couldn't see anything. But even before and after was pretty
cool.
Yeah, it was neat to see the sliver and all that.
I'm pretty sure. I know that people got married during that, but I'm not even kidding when I say this. That I think that Dr. Mike gave me the full digital rectal exam,
full fist,
right at the time. No. Right at the time that the eclipse was taking place. I think I think that's when that happened.
You had a rectal eclipse.
Because we were talking about it, and then he started, they did that whole thing, yeah. I think that was my special memory of 2024.
3, 2,
yeah.
1.
Yep. By the way, I'm just fine.
You are?
Everything is all
Okay,
good.
Everything's
yes.
good? All right.
So, by the way, Illinois officials are urging the public to check their Eclipse glasses, saying that some of the brands were recalled for potentially failing to meet safety standards.
Now you tell them.
Oh, great.
I would, but I can't see any, please.
The glasses were sold. It says here that an Illinois Department of Public Health press release states that the Eclipse glasses sold through Amazon as the Beniki. It looks like bikini. Beniki Solar Eclipse Glasses, AAS approved 2024, certified safe shades for direct sun viewing have been recalled for potentially not meeting the ISO designation.
That's why,
which is 12312-2.
Unless I was able to get my hands on welding, I don't trust them. For things like this, the serial number's off one digit and you're Stevie Wonder.
They said the people in possession of the recalled glasses should not use them to view the eclipse. So don't do that.
We were giving away the glasses. They on the box it said NASA approved.
Oh, there you go.
So I guess
Yeah, it had to say ISO on the side.
If it's NASA, we can default to. NASA works closely with readers.
Real quick, I'm going to go to this call. It's Justin who took a road trip. Hi, Justin. Good morning.
Yeah, Zook guys.
Yeah,
I'm
Zooks.
so tired.
What's up, bud?
Yeah, I drove out Sunday afternoon to Columbus, Ohio, and went probably about 30 minutes north to a little town called Delaware, Ohio.
Okay.
And it was completely clear weather. It was like everyone that was in town stopped. I had a big Bluetooth speaker. I was blasting Total Eclipse of the Heart while it was going on.
Of course.
And it looked amazing. Like it was a lifelong dream of mine. I've always wanted to see like the path of totality, and like I actually was brought to tears because it was such a great.
No, listen, you're seeing you're seeing this. It puts you in context in the solar system and the universe. It's something amazing. And so the darkness level, was it nighttime level?
Yeah, I have pictures. It started to look like it was a cloudy day at first.
Yeah.
And then like it kept just getting darker and darker until eventually like the street lights came on and it was like nighttime.
Yeah. Well,
That's
cool,
awesome.
man. That's awesome.
Good for you, Justin. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. I'm glad he got out there and there weren't any clouds because driving to Columbus and then you got to be kidding me.
There are people who went to areas that did end up being flew to areas that ended up being cloudy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad it was such a social event. I drove home and I drove through Lemon Hill and there were tons of people out. Like you saw, Nick, the art museum steps were packed with people. I drove past the Franklin Institute. They had a couple thousand people out there.
Derek Pitts was rocking the place.
Yeah, I ended up near the Walnut Street Bridge. There's a little brewery there called Human Robot. And there was a deck full of people, so I was hanging out with them. And then everyone just started booing the clouds in like true Philly fashion.
I did see a number of pictures from around the area, and I'm sure Nick, Andrea got some solid pictures, as you said. But I mean, there were moments where you could see, eclipse-ishness, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyhow, hopefully you got a glimpse or two of it. We do need to take a break because I want to stay on as close to time as we can for your chance to win $1,000. It's good money. Good money to see you. So when we return, we'll get that as well as Bizarre Files. Stay with us.
From 93.3 WMMR.
Hi, thanks, Kat. So we've only got about 3 minutes or so before we need to do good money, and I don't want to do a 3-minute Bizarre File.
No, I agree.
So let me do a couple things here, mention-wise. Number one, Tat Tuesday, so a chance for you to win a Preston and Steve Show themed tattoo, $350 gift certificate for Floating World Tattoo and Piercing. So that's up and running now. Text the word tattoo to 39333. But I wanted to make sure that you are aware of this. Now, we already have the save the date for the Preston and Steve blood drive. And we announced that, right? A while back, didn't we?
Did we?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, an announcement now about what you need to know.
Wow, what's it going to be?
For the Preston and Steve blood drive. Save the date because it's going to be Friday, June 14th. Hey! And why that is important that you need to know that now is because for active donors, you are still eligible to donate at our event as long as you donate before April 19th. So that's the deadline for this time around, and I think it's 56 days.
I believe that's the case.
That you have to wait between donations. So if you want to get in another donation before our blood drive, and we'd be honored if you would participate in our blood drive, you should schedule your upcoming donation by April 19th. And we're going to do 2 locations again this year. We're going to be at Live Casino and Hotel in Philadelphia and the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center at Oaks. And I believe we'll be broadcasting live from Oaks like we did last year.
Love it.
And so it's on a Friday. There was a time when we did this on a Saturday. But we like the idea of being able to broadcast and do our show live at the event. So we now do it on a Friday morning. And it goes on for several hours. And 2 different locations just to, listen, the more blood we can get, the more lives that we can help out and possibly save, that you are, obviously the linchpin in this. So we've set it up at Live Casino Hotel in Philadelphia and the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. You can go to WMMR.com and click on events. And we have the complete details there, and it's all from the American Red Cross. And we're excited about that. But April 19th is when you need to go ahead and get in your next donation by, and then still be eligible by Friday, June 14th.
Yeah, it's I love it. I love the vibe. I love doing the broadcast. Pierre's obviously, I believe he's going to be broadcasting from the casino live as he did last time.
That's right.
Which is very cool. And then I'm going to throw it out there now. We're going to look to break the record, the Munchkin record from last year.
The Munchkin record. Wow. We got to start measuring that out.
Yeah, we should.
How far away we were. Sure, I'm game.
Let's try it.
I'm totally
Let's go
game.
for it.
And you know what's funny is I don't have a very big mouth. I can't believe I was catching those things.
I was catching.
Yeah. Oh, well, no. We're two different things. Preston did it on the scooter.
I did the drive-by. You caught.
We have two
the toss.
records.
That's
You're
right.
right.
You have two
We
records.
set 2 world records.
That's right.
Are we going to set 2 more world records?
Well, I totally forgot. We have the potential
The scooter.
to set 2 world records again.
The Scooter Munchkin Challenge.
Yeah.
All right, so anyhow, that's coming up. Just wanted to make you aware of that. And then I'm going to read this email real quick. This is from Patty. I don't know what her last name is. She says, hey, Preston, South Jersey transplants, now living in Glen Allen, Virginia. Listen to you guys daily on the Amazon devices. I had you guys on Friday morning, ironically, packing to go up there to visit family for the weekend and learned in real time about that Jersey earthquake. Well, after being up in the Philly area all weekend, we didn't feel a single shake.
Man.
But last night, back at home, the earth decided to show me what we missed out on and gave us our own 2.1 shake. Thankfully, no damage, but sure sent out similar responses on the local next door of the Did You Feel That? My ask of you guys is that if you're going to be leading the way, setting some trends, can you maybe hit the lottery for me?
All right.
So that's from Patty. So thank you, Patty.
There was an
Appreciate it.
aftershock.
Yeah, did you feel it?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, around 6 o'clock that
didn't.
evening. Yeah, it was about a 4.0. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right, so anyhow, I want to make you aware of that stuff. And what are you pointing at?
I'm pointing at that.
Oh, it's time to do this.
It's time.
It's 10 o'clock. All right, so let's fire it up. Here we go.
93.3 WMMR Philadelphia. It's time for a Good Money It keyword.
All right, and our word is success. SUCCESS. You have until 15 minutes after the hour to enter it. Now, there are 2 ways for now to do this.
2 ways.
Only at WMMR.com or the MMR app. So you're going to need to enter that way. Success. SUCCESS. WMMR.com or the MMR app. And one random entry will win $1,000 in our company-wide contest. Each winner gets a call from Beasley. Make sure that you answer your phone when that comes in. Contest rules at WMMR.com. And it's sponsored by McLaughlin Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. So the word again, success. And enter it through WMMR.com or on the MMR app. Good luck to you.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you this morning by Briganti Wines, Italy's finest. Available now at select Pennsylvania Acmes. Visit brigantiwines.com for details. That's brigantiwines.com. I've never heard of this before. A broken elevator system at a Denver apartment complex has led to a unique situation that has residents concerned about safety. For the past few weeks, tenants at Hirschfield Towers said someone has been standing at the top of the elevator, manually moving it from floor to floor.
Standing on top, at the top of the elevator? I'm missing this. Are they standing up on top of the elevator?
This is what it says.
Okay.
Standing on top of the elevator, manually moving it from floor to floor. Torsten Mitchell says, so we have to knock on the elevator. He asks us what floor we're on, and we have to tell him the floor we're on, and then we have to tell him what floor we're going to. Mitchell says the ride is far from smooth and often ends up out of alignment when entering or exiting the elevator. He said it's very scary to be on the elevator.
It seems
Sometimes
dangerous.
when you come down, you have to look down to make sure that it's even so that you don't step off and fall. The Denver Fire Department says they are aware of the situation. A spokesperson said that it's far from ideal, but has been approved to allow the elevator to function while repairs are made. Fire code allows for a certified technician to manually operate the elevator in situations like this. Renee Smith lives on the 9th floor and said that she's worried about what happens to the elevator if something happens to the technician standing on top. She said, what if he gets overheated in the shaft? Or what if he should have a heart attack or a stroke while he's manually lowering the elevator? Then it's out of control and the elevator could fall and drop with passengers on there. That's my biggest concern about that.
So what exactly is the mechanism
I
that
have
allows
no idea.
one person to manually raise and lower an elevator?
The Denver Housing Authority, which operates the apartment complex, said the elevator is run by a certified technician in accordance with applicable requirements.
We're only going down today.
The spokesperson said no timeline for repairs has been determined, but I've never heard of that either, Steve. Of
Yeah.
How do you even manually operate An elevator. Yeah.
10th floor.
This is a cautionary tale for you, friends, and one we shouldn't have to tell, but I will anyway. A social media trend emerged on TikTok and sent several children to the hospital, forcing them to fight for their lives, commonly referred to as the Fireball Challenge. Kids use either an aerosol can or rubbing alcohol to create a fireball and film it to capture their reactions on film. In this particular incident, it occurred in August 2023, but the 12-year-old boy's mother just recently sat down for an interview to raise awareness and attempt to warn others about the Fireball Challenge. What was intended to be an innocent video for TikTok turned into a nightmare for 12-year-old Corey Roper. He accidentally set himself on fire. His mother, Tiffany, said she woke up to a scream around 5 a.m., prompting her to rush into the son's room. She found him in flames. She said he was on fire. His polyester T-shirt had completely melted onto his skin. Family called 911. They were able to spray Corey down with cold water from the hose in the kitchen until paramedics arrived. She said, I had no idea what had happened until police and paramedics arrived. They told me that Corey had held a bottle of rubbing alcohol in one hand and lit it with the other, not realizing how quickly rubbing alcohol burns off. Corey was in extreme shock, but he kept saying, I saw it in a video. He was admitted to the ICU, placed in an induced coma. He was put on a ventilator. They confirmed the 12-year-old boy had suffered from second and third degree burns to 45 to 50% of his body.
Oh, my God.
She said, I looked up the video on my phone and saw hundreds of them about children who had attempted similar stunts as part of a TikTok challenge, many of which had gone wrong, and I was beside myself. He underwent 4 debridement surgeries, which is a procedure where surgeons scrub and clean the wounds. And he also endured 5 skin graft surgeries. They took the skin from his thigh and placed it onto his burns. Corey was in a coma for 2 weeks. He survived. He had to relearn how to walk. After 1 month in the hospital, he was discharged. And the damage was so severe that he doesn't even remember the whole thing.
My God.
Yeah. And Corey's mom has a word of advice for parents. She said, because of social media, my baby is scarred for life. I am so grateful that he's alive. Challenges like these are targeted at children because they don't understand the repercussions. You have to protect them. One child being hurt is one too many. So beware. This is, all right, a much lighter story and an incredible feat of strength. Tony Perrano of Decatur, Illinois, as a man with some serious lower body strength. On April 5th, he set out to break the record for the most squats done in a 24-hour period. Starting at 5 a.m., Perrano commenced to squatting, and 1 full day later ended up shattering the previous record of 1,000 squats, finished by logging in 26,100 of them.
26,100 squats in one day.
That's insane.
I don't know how you don't just hemorrhage and die.
Yeah. To accomplish his mission,
about 11 or 12 will get me to that point.
Perrano forced himself to take a 30-second break every 22 squats, as well as making time for longer breaks throughout the day.
You did something very similar when you sat in every single seat in the Wells Fargo Center.
Insane. It was so stupid.
And but you do that in one day, or did it take a couple of days?
It took like 3 days to do that. It was insane. And I had another story, and I don't know where it is in my bizarre file, but there was a guy that broke a record for the most amount of lunges.
Yeah, God.
And he did thousands of them. Dude, lunges cripple me.
Yeah. They'll F up your
Especially
knees.
if you haven't done them in a long time, and you're like, oh, and at the time you're doing them, they seem pretty easy.
I pulled my
and the
jaw.
next day you can't walk.
Just saying lunge.
You should lunge. Ow. So this is all done to raise money and awareness for the Marion County Horizon Center, which provides resources for adults with mental disabilities. So,
Treats children who have suffered lunging accidents.
Insane. A Long Island woman was arrested on Wednesday for driving despite having over 50 license suspensions.
Next time.
Yeah. According to the Suffolk County Police, around 1 a.m., police noticed Kaylin Snyder.
You've hit the nifty 50. One more and you're going to jail.
Driving a Jeep Liberty without a rear license plate, pulled her over. After further investigation, the officer found that Snyder had 52 license suspensions that were issued on 13 different occasions.
52.
Snyder was charged with aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle and will appear at court on a later date.
Guilty.
Her Jeep was impounded as well. So that's all we have time for this morning in the Bizarre File. All right, a reminder, there we go. The word is success that you need to enter for the Good Money to See You cash contest. So you got a little over 5 minutes. You got like
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
What?
That's how much
a little more than 5.
Hey, 7 minutes, right?
Well, 6.
Well, now 6.
But no more than 8.
No more, definitely not 8. You have less than that. All right, success is the word. SUCCESS. So make sure that you do enter that now through WMMR.com or on the MMR app. We'll be back in just a second. Lesson, question, trash, music news are coming up. Red Hot Chili Peppers, 93.3 WMMR, by the way. 18 minutes after 10 in the Preston and Steve Show. Just a beautiful day today, shaping up nicely. There are going to be more clouds that work their way in, but we have warmer temperatures to just bask in because it's going to get in the upper 70s today.
Down with that.
It's going to feel so good. And tomorrow, 74 clouds. And it only takes a couple of days like this, and then you start to see the floral pop.
We've already had a little bit, but it's life. It's living. It's the loving and living of life.
You'll see even more of it. I have my yard is like a foot tall.
Yeah.
And just in spots and clumps.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
It looks like your yard has male pattern baldness.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just mowing it down and keeping it low now. Mulch Works. Our friends at Mulch Works dropped
Steve's
off the
very
mulch.
excited about his mulch.
I love the mulch.
Dude, you should. Steve and I went there this is our second year cutting a commercial there together, and being around that operation is pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for shooting videos.
Yeah.
Because there's no sound.
No, not at all. There's trucks. It's like they're making noise all the time while we're there. Does it smell, you asked?
Yeah.
I do
Not
love the mulch
bad.
smell.
I kind of like it. It's earthy.
I do. Yeah, I agree. I love it. You don't like it, Kathy? No. I'm wearing it right now. I have some mulch on my
How I feel about earthy
What are you
smells.
wearing?
Mulch for men.
Mulch for men.
I had a landscaping job at one point early in my 20s, and there was that concern, and I didn't have any idea that this was even possible before I started working there, but mulch can spontaneoely combust.
Oh, yeah.
He told us.
Yeah.
He actually, there had a huge pile of mulch. They had many huge piles of mulch, but there was a fire inside one of the piles that they just kind of had to let burn out.
It's crazy. And so we would have to till it and move it around from time to time. It was a hard-ass job, but it was a really good job.
They take all sorts of precautions to keep that from getting to that incendiary part.
Yeah, there's a place, Kathy, approaching, not quite to, I guess around Conchi Curve on the Schuylkill Expressway. They have, I guess there's a mulch company out there. And every now and then I'll see them out there trying just steaming.
You know what? I think that
Steam
is
coming off of that stuff.
When people recycle leaves and sticks and stuff out of their yard, they'll put them in those brown bags. I've seen those brown bags show up there when you're driving west on the Schuylkill, right? It's on the right-hand side. Yeah. And so you'll see them sort of, I don't know, like composting them and then turning it into mulch. I don't know if they sell that or not, or if it's like, I don't know what the deal is.
Go to Mulchworks. They get the good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that exact place. I think it has to be, but did you see their vehicles underwater after we got off that rain?
No.
Yeah, like they were.
It wasn't Mulch Works.
No. The place on the
place I'm
Schuylkill.
talking about.
Yeah, the place you're talking about on the Schuylkill Expressway. I was driving by, and they were getting the vehicles out of there. But I mean, they were pretty deep in water.
Yeah, it's flat, and it's on that floodplain, I guess, right over by there. So
Wet mulch.
Yeah. What are you wearing? Wet mulch.
For nighttime.
Okay, enough of that. We're going to give away a lesson question prize. And we have a pair of tickets for Rain, a tribute to the Beatles.
Makes the mulch work.
I need to go to this. Friday, May 10th at the Miller Theater. And the question that we'll ask this morning, earlier today we were singing the theme song to Good Times. What are the two kinds of lines that they're hanging in the song, according to us? 215-263 WMMR. There were two separate lines that you could get in according to the theme song to the TV show Good Times. 215-263 WMMR. Let's see if you know the answer. Call. We'll do the trash while you're doing that.
The trash business is a gold mine.
93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
All right, this morning brought to you by PhillySportsTrips.com. Go there now and put your small refundable deposit down to go to spring training next March with us.
Do it.
That's PhillySportsTrips.com. What's going on, Steve?
Well, 77-year-old Game of Thrones actor Charles Dance admitting that he destroyed his marriage by giving into temptation. Dan says over the past decade, his penis has been on a, quote, vagina sampling tour.
Oh my God.
That sounds bad. Elizabeth Hurley denying theories that she is, in fact, the unnamed older woman who took Prince Harry's virginity. Hurley says the only sexual encounter she's ever had with a royal was sitting on one of King Charles's earlobes. And finally, the 99 cents only stores announcing they'll be shutting down 371 locations nationwide. A spokesman for the company said they knew it was over when they realized it currently takes $3.29 to buy 99 cents. And that's your Hollywood Traffic.
All right, we are going to see if you were paying close enough attention around 7:30 this morning. What 2 lines are they hanging in during the theme song for Good Times? 215-263-WMMR, and we will go to Bill to see if we can get the answer. Hey, Bill.
Hi, guys.
Hi, bud. All right, Bill, what 2 lines are they hanging in during the theme song for Good Times?
That is the jar line and the chow line.
Yes, the jar line and the chow line. Yep, hang on, buddy. We're going to give you a 4-pack of tickets. All right, so a pair of tickets for Rain, a tribute to the Beatles, Friday, May 10th at the Miller Theater. Pardon us for just a second, because here we go.
Keeping your head above water, making a way when you can. Temporary layoffs. Good times, easy credit rip-offs. Good times, scratching and surviving. Good time, hanging in a jar line. Good times, ain't we lucky we got 'em. Good times.
And there it is.
How many times we play that today?
4 or 5. Yeah. All right. Bill gets those tickets to see Rain and the Miller Theater. Note for note, precision, mind-blowing performance. It transports you back to the iconic eras of Sgt. Pepper and Magical Mystery Tour, along with all your favorite hits. 4 shows, May 9th to the 11th. Tickets and info at ensembleartsphilly.org. Let us now get music news.
Now, Preston and Steve's Music News on 93.3 WMMR.
You just made a mess in my mouth. Brought to you by A.D. Moyer Lumber, trusted expert since 1939. A.D. Moyer Lumber is your professional source for decks, windows, doors, kitchens, millwork, and more. You can visit them on the web at admoyer.com. So, nearly a year and a half after Twisted Sister's one-off on-stage reunion at the Metal Hall of Fame in Agora Hills, California, Dee Snider was asked if he and the rest of the band would consider coming back together for special performances. And he said, as a result of all the bands retiring and dying, the offers get bigger and bigger for the holdouts to come back. And we retired in 2016, I think it was. So we're on 8 years now of not playing with no intention of coming back. But my father, he says, everything before the word but is bull S. But at some point, you got to say, well, how can we say no to that?
Yeah.
He said, is it there yet? No. Is it getting close? Yeah. Is there talk amongst us like, well, in the event that the numbers do get there, and they sure as hell seem to be going in that direction, how are we going to do this? So there's a little bit of that conversation. He said, and that's both physically, how are we going to do it, and on a number of other levels. And that's a recent occurrence that the conversation has gone from never to, in the event that they might make us an offer we can't refuse, what's the plan? And there's some very general discussion on that involving personal trainers, diets, hair extensions.
Yeah. Medical crew.
And he said, and that's the first time in 8 years that conversation has changed. And he added, he said, listen, we're all friends, by the way. The surviving guys, we all talk, and we're all friends, and we love each other. And that was one of the great things that came out of getting back together the first time that we managed to fix the friendship and be friends. And that, to me, is what really I wanted to do in the first place, getting back together last time. So anyway, he said, we'll see what happens.
I would love to see them. There's some eclectic bands that you would be familiar with, like Zebra Preston, and of that Long Island, New York sort of.
And do like a festival show?
Yeah.
That'd be
like
awesome.
A reunion of that. I don't know if there's enough. In the area, it would make a big impact, but Twisted Sister obviously became known globally. Zebra got some play on MTV, but some of those other bands, might be interesting on a bill, because it seems like those really focused.
And if you wanted to stay
shows,
in this area, you could grab like Cinderella, and Brittany Fox,
exactly,
and do something like that.
Scarlet Fever.
Scarlet Fever. That was Jackie's band. Yeah,
I was going to say,
back together.
You could legit put Jackie in charge of this tour.
Yes.
He knows so many people, and Steve, he's such a fan of all of those bands, and his knowledge is just, it's incredible about all of it.
He worships them.
Yep. All right, and then I only have one other item, and it does involve a friend of ours. One of the most revealing metal autobiographies of recent times was Geezer Butler's popular Into the Void from Birth to Black Sabbath and beyond. And many rockers are going to flock to the Gothic Theater on May 22nd in Inglewood. This is in Colorado, I believe, for a discussion with Black Sabbath's legendary bassist, who will be joined by comedian Brian Posehn to discuss his book, life, and career for an event that's being billed as Filling the Void.
So Brian and Flocking Rockers.
Yes, Flocking Rockers and Brian Posehn. In addition to the conversation between Brian and Geezer, Butler will also be taking part in a question and answer session with the audience, and he'll be signing the attendees' books. So if you're going, make sure you bring one. Concerning Into the Void, countless esteemed publications praised it, including Mojo hailing it as, quote, an epic odyssey of one of rock's unlikeliest stars.
And he used to live near you, right?
He actually did. And I didn't believe it. I never believed it.
Why would you believe that?
It was St. Louis. The dude was an Englishman. And the word was Geezer Butler. I retell this story all the time. And Geezer Butler lived in Chesterfield, Missouri, which is where I lived.
Yeah.
And that you needed to go, your only time to go by his house was Halloween because they would hand out candy. And like he would open up the door and you could see all his guitars on the wall and stuff. And I never
Who would believe it?
I never bought it for a second. I absolutely thought it was lies, urban legend. No, he really lived there.
And I could see, like, every Halloween, like around 10 o'clock at night, well, no Preston.
Yeah, right?
I want to show him all my guitars.
All right, with that, we'll take a break, come back in a second, wrap up the show. Stay with us. We'll return momentarily. KGL 93.3, WMMR. It's everything that rocks. 10:38 and Tuesday morning, Preston and Steve Show. Getting ready to wrap things up. Today has been fun, and the weather continues to be beautiful. Always. Listen, it's always a great time to listen to Pierre Robert.
Yes.
And when the weather is nice out and you can roll your windows down if you happen to be in the car, or maybe you can work outside, and then you have the soundtrack that Pierre provides for you on a beautiful day, I always find it even that much more awesome.
You know, you paint a beautiful picture, and it might be worth keeping a Pierre Robert wig in your car to put on so that when you roll down your window, the hair could flow out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I like it, like the old billboard.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a beautiful, loving tribute to a man who's still alive.
He will be not missed because he's still here.
Not missed because he's right here. And he'll be along any moment. But today has been fun, and I would like to thank our one and only guest, Mr. Dan Soder. Dan's awesome. He's a friend, and he's got a new special, which is out now on YouTube, so you should watch it because you will enjoy. So it was nice talking to him this morning. And reiterating an announcement we made earlier this morning about our blood drive. Oh, thank you, Casey. It's coming up. We have the date now. It is going to be Friday, June 14th, so mark that on your calendar. And also mark on your calendar that the last day you can donate blood and still be eligible to do so at our event is on April 19th, which is coming up fairly soon. So 2 locations again this year, Live Casino Hotel Philadelphia, the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center at Elks will be broadcasting from the Expo Center. I believe, like you said, Steve Pierre is going to be at Live Casino.
Yes.
And I think Brent did his show last year, too.
Yes.
Let's find out the details on all of that. But nonetheless, the event is coming up. You can go to WMMR.com and click on events for the complete details, and it's from the American Red Cross, so we're happy about that. Letter of the day, Case, you can help me out? All right, let me do this. Here we go.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter.
And make sure you write this down because you're going to need it because we give this away on Friday. The Preston and Steve Show is brought to you today by the letter.
M.
M. As in Mary. All
What
right.
does yellow mean?
We're going to give away on Friday the incredible Shift travel table and 4 Tommy Bahama beach chairs. Most convenient portable umbrella table available. The Shift travel table has a sturdy tabletop with large cup holders, a patent pending beach umbrella, with a swivel arm that allows it to rotate 360 degrees and their unique anchor mat, which, of course, makes it safe for the beach. Even on the windiest of days, you can check them out at shiftoutdoors.com, and we'll give that away on Friday. What is he doing?
Here's scouring through the little sugar cozy over there.
We'll keep this quick. You can do your sugar in a moment.
I'll get to you. Just give me a minute.
You'll get to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want this crap. I want real sugar.
What's that?
That's all right.
Splenda?
Peace and love. Yeah. Now, I hope that you all had a lovely eclipse. You were getting your
digital
Dr.
exam.
Mike's
yes,
finger greeting you. And we here, Pancake and I, went up on the roof. Rodney led us up on the roof of our glorious architectural magnificent structure of One Bala Plaza and saw effing nothing.
Yep.
I mean, at the very first moment, there was a little bit of it. Then the cloud cover, I mean, it was a beautiful sky. But the cloud cover came in. And so Brent was doing, but the great thing is we were doing all these sun songs and Eclipse songs and Staring at the Sun from U2 and Offspring has a song like that and Brain Damage and Eclipse from Pink Floyd and stuff. So it was great fun musically matching the day.
And the fact that you can do that is so awesome.
Well,
you can just roll and be fluid here, you know?
If you think about, that's one of the great things about this radio station. It can be flexible. After the earthquake, which was Friday, I just, as soon as you guys were over, I came out and started the coffee break with Shakin' from Eddie Money.
Yeah.
And I did the entire coffee break, 45 minutes of songs about shaking.
It's great.
Shaking all over, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. You know, Shake Me from Cinderella, all kinds of cool songs. In other words, the flexibility of radio being able to match the day and match the moment. So even though we didn't see the eclipse, it was great fun.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
There it is.
All right, very good. Real quick, before we find out what you got going on, I have this call. I want to go to Sean real fast. Hey, Sean, good morning.
I think I crapped my pants.
Sean, what do you want to tell us, bud?
Well, technically I did because back in August, I won Word of the Week prize. It was for premium seats of WrestleMania.
Oh.
And me and my son went Saturday, had the best time of our life. We were ringside.
Oh, my
Dude, yeah.
God.
I saw the pictures you were posting. Unbelievable.
WrestleMania! No way!
Wow.
I told a story earlier this morning about how a listener named Sean called me and went to my wife's phone. This is Sean.
That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah. So my son dressed as a banana, and he was getting, I guess, these peely from Fortnite, and he was like the star of the night. Like everyone was laughing at whatever. But the best thing is at the end of the night, Jordan Mailata came down to watch at the end, and he sat in these seats, like a couple behind us. So I made a sign for my, I coach Oak Valley baseball, so I made a sign. We're called the Oak Valley Rizzlers. Google that. The kids came up with the name. But he signed it for him at the end, and then he took a picture with it. So,
awesome.
And then if you go to Philadelphia Eagles, whatever, Facebook page, whatever, you see us guys sitting there in the background. You see my son dressed as banana. So
That's terrific, man. It's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I just want to tell you guys, thank you very much, man. Like, I couldn't afford those tickets, but Word of the Week, I rarely try to win, but I won, and Pierre's wrote Word of the Week, and I remember it because I can't read. It was, I had sounded out.
What was it?
Road. It was Road. ROAD Road.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was a 4-letter week.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But I honestly just want to thank you guys, man. Like I said, I couldn't afford those tickets at all. I mean, they were so pricey, but my son and I had the best time of our life.
That's terrific.
It was cold. He dressed warm, but he didn't say he was cold, and he hung through the whole night. And he wants to thank you guys too, but he's doing the smart thing. He's in school right now.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah,
Did you happen to see Cold Stone Steve Austin?
Nah, he didn't come out.
Cold Stone.
Yeah. He was tag teaming with Baskin and Robbins.
Right. Or Ribby Roddy Piping, the Piper.
Yeah. We saw the boys in blue, Pierre.
That's it. That's it, lad. Carry on.
Or the Mocha Man, Randy Savage.
Sports up.
All right, Sean, glad you had a great time. Give your son our best, all right, buddy?
I appreciate it, man. Thanks, guys.
Yep, take care.
That's very. Love hearing that.
There you go. Love giving away those prizes.
Yeah.
Why don't we give away one now?
All
because
right.
it's Tat Tuesday. And winner of a $350 gift certificate for Floating Wall Tattoo and Piercing is Dan Elliott.
Yay!
From Philadelphia. And it's brought to you by Floating World Tattoo and Piercing, 1729 South Street in Philadelphia. Take a look at floatingworldtattoos.com or check out their artwork on Instagram at Floating World Tattoos. What you got on the show today, Pierre?
Well, we'll have another chance at $1,000 coming at 12 noon. As you sort of made a reference to, we had a couple of problems yesterday with the texter number. So I think we're only going with using the website and the app for the moment. This is a perfect example of what I talk about with Mercury being retrograde.
Yeah.
Things can break down. And the texter had a little problems. It worked for some, but we had a couple of problems. Our staff of engineers, led by me, is on it.
Yeah, led by you.
All right, that part was not true, but we are on it. Someone tells me that we're on it, and we'll get that fixed. In the meantime, we'll have $1,000 either way to give away, and we've got workforce blocks of Candlebox and Metallica and Triumph, and we got the Pearl Jam Global Theatrical Experience on Tuesday to give away, and it's Double Shot Tuesday.
Excellent.
And
there it is.
I can't wait for Triumph, too, man. Awesome.
Triumph.
All right, let me thank our sponsors. President Steve Show brought to you today by Dunkin'. And the Preston Steve Show runs on Dunkin'. Also brought to you by Acme Markets, fresh foods, local flavors, and by Horizon Services. Schedule your AC tune-up and get a free fall tune-up at horizonservices.com/WMMR. Tomorrow, it's a Wednesday. We do our Wednesday things, Fox Good Day, and a secret text word. And we will be joined by Carney Wilson on the show tomorrow. Yeah, so that should be cool. And we'll see what else we can do. That's it. We're done. Rage on. Have yourself a wonderful day. Beautiful day. And we'll see you tomorrow, gang. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.